Best Bun is back. Oh, really? Well, I mean, if you have to leave my stream to go watch the Best Bun, then that's fine. I won't hold it against you. Yeah, they said the Best Bun is back, and I was just saying, if the Best Bun is back and they need to go watch their stream, that's fine. Self-deprecating. Oh, let's see. If you're talking, you can't hear me. 1 second. Let me see what's going on. Oh, whoa. None of my volume things are popping up. That's weird. Whoa. Okay. So it's not picking up when I'm doing Discord. What happened? Let's see. Oh no. Here, let's do this. Maybe this will. Hello, hello. No. What the? What the hell? Why is everything? None of my volumes are working. Oh, OBS. No, no, I get it. I'm just over here panicking because my speaker thing is not working, and I don't know why. It should be. It was working last time. Hurry up, Logitech. One second while I figure this out. Wouldn't be a bun, a best bun, if wasn't Scuffy. Okay, let's see. All right, now I'm finally getting game audio, even though it's really low. But I like my when you make noise on Discord, it pops up. When I make noise on Discord, it does not pop up. I do not know. Yeah, that is super weird. What? I've got a special Logitech thing that does my microphone, my Yeti, but it's just
Let's see. Okay, so now it's picking up my mic. Do you have like a, with the sources on the setup? Do you have like a mic source? Because I have a mic source.
I mean, if you can hear me, it should be fine. Is the
Yeah,
thing. Let's
but
see.
like the the mic source. Um, like I have a
Well,
mic source separate from Discord because like whenever I do Discord, it only picks up the people that are talking to me, not me myself.
yes, I do have a mic and an auxiliary thing for that
Okay,
specifically.
so check the mic settings and see what device it's feeding from because I just had to check with mine.
Okay, let's see if that works because I just
Because
did that.
my device, it wasn't even listed, so I had just had to change it.
Hello, hello. Mic is still not going, but I see what you're. Oh, wait, wait.
Now it's
Can
picking
you
up?
hear me? Can you hear me? Ground control to Major Tom. Can you hear me? Dean is currently microwaving a fairy. Can you hear me?
Not the fairy microwave.
Oh my god.
Actually, let me check your stream on my phone, and I'll see if I
Okay.
can hear. Damn it, there's an ad. Oh, somebody said lovely bunny voice. Like just now. Lovely bun voice.
Oh my god. Sansei, you know that that is not true, but I so appreciate it.
Yep, hear you loud and clear. Let's go!
Woo!
Let's go!
Woohoo! Okay, so
Damn it, I pressed
everyone,
the wrong button on
the
my.
main yeah, one second. I got a whole little pitch.
Okay.
The lady is abed. All the guests have been filed away into various bondage outfits and certain rooms for the night. The toys have been put away, and it's time for a bun to play. We're going to play some Powerwash Simulator with a lovely new friend. Please introduce yourself.
Hi. Oh my god, I'm bad at this. My name's Jayla Cephidae, and I am a mutant jellyfish who likes to talk smack while drawing most of the time. Although I do play video games sometimes.
Oh, there you go.
But it's nice to be here. Thanks for having me, Bishy.
Of course, absolutely. Thanks, for enjoying some time with the bun. Especially since this is kind of a return stream for me, as far as not like I've been doing stuff with the Breakfast Crew and all that, but as far as like doing my own stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I've not been doing anything.
Gotcha.
And
Also,
we
hey,
will
Paz.
we will talk about what happened yesterday to a bun because it is harrowing, quite
Ah.
frankly.
Yeah, what did happen? Because I wasn't here for that. Like, I didn't read anything.
Hmm. Welcome, new friendo, says Hanse.
Also, hey, Paz. I'm doing well. Ooh, today. Okay, so today was a really good day. I went to work, and today we had like a ceremony honoring. Um, we have a Trailblazers program, which is essentially where. Okay, so I work at a Black History Museum, and we just started this thing called the Trailblazers program, where we pick like 15 Black folks in the state who like excel in their field or have done a lot of community action and or they've like pioneered or innovated something. And we just had the inductee ceremony today, and I got some cheesecake. I brought some cheesecake home.
Ooh, cheesecake.
We had to clean the back of these things. Oh, that's why it was taking so long for me to clean it.
That is very cool, and oh, it reminds me of something that you and I will talk about later. I am not talking about this public,
Hmm.
but I will let you know a little thing that is a very odd reality
Hmm.
in my life that may very well have some. It I may end up telling you something that then you can go into that museum and see something.
Oh, cool.
Just to let you know.
I wish I had some cleaner.
I didn't even know that that was such a
Maybe I
thing.
should use soap and that could help.
Yeah. So what happened yesterday for the hydrate 1 second. Let me get some blood of Christ over here. And as always, the blood of Christ is the strawberry grape Mambo Forever flavor, which I believe I've said before they made in honor of Kobe. And we call it the blood of Christ because it tastes exactly like the grape juice that they use in Baptist and Methodist churches in the South for communion wine.
Unfortunately, the one at the communion that be used at the church that I used to go at, I'm like, okay, this has been in here for like 5 years. Like, if you let this sit any longer in the storage unit, it's probably gonna ferment and actually become wine. Like, please replace this. I want to live.
Well, as the bun of a preacher man, I can tell you, they are
What's the
cheap.
bun of a preacher, man?
Exactly. Huh?
What's the name of that one
Oh,
song?
yes, the only man to was the bun of was the son of a preacher. Yeah, yeah, yep, yep. The ever preacher man was the bun of a preacher man. Okay, so yesterday, for those of you who are curious and who checked out my Twitter, so you all know, I believe most of you, my viewers know, that about 3 weeks ago I had major surgery. Major surgery, like big time. Uh, Possibly one of the most difficult recoveries I've ever had to go through. Bun is quiet. Here, let me turn myself off or try to. First, I
Man,
got to
it
get
feels like
out of
I'm not
that.
watching shit.
What do I do to increase my volume? What do I do to increase my volume? What do I do to increase my volume?
Early in the morning. Even though
E.
it's more early in the evening.
How do I do that? Hello, hello. I need to just sit down one day and just go through all of my stuff, and specifically when it comes to audio, because I have had this problem before.
Literally me.
Yeah. Come on, audio.
Actually, for anybody who's listening in my stream, like, how's my balance?
Yeah,
Because there have been
hydrochloroquine.
times where, like, there have been times where the volume was, like, for the music and whatnot was hella quiet. And I thought that I had things balanced, but that was a lie.
Huh. Usually, I have a Logitech thing that is supposed to that I had set all of my audio up, and it was. You did? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
And are you on? And are you on Sprint? Yes. Okay. Am I louder now?
I personally don't hear a difference. Maybe it's because of Discord settings.
Yeah, you shouldn't hear me any different, but so I've got a Logitech thing that's supposed to have this all fixed, but for some reason or another, it is just spinning its wheels. It's never actually activated.
Is it real
And
streaming if there's no scuff?
yes, I am louder. Okay, cool. Cool. We'll just say that that's working, and then go on about our lives because this gnome thing is not going to clean itself.
Can we really call ourselves streamers if there's no scuff?
I swear. I mean, that's like part of the deal. It's a good part of the entertainment. 1 second here. I'll put the mic a little closer to my face. My face. My face.
It makes the experience very learny and stuff because the audience can get to participate in the setup.
Okay. Here we go. We can do that. 1 second.
I wonder why it's hard to clean this damn thing. These weird ass angles, like, at least give us a ladder.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Scuff is our bread and butter. Hell yeah. And it's tasty. Okay. So going back to the story of what happened. So, like I said, I recently had a major surgery. And the recovery for it was because I'm still in the middle of it, one of the hardest recoveries I've ever had to do in my life. When I came home, I thought I was going to get on a stream and play a TTRPG. No, that was not going to happen. My body was like, hell no. You're not even going to be able to use the bathroom at all. Like, you're going to try, and then it's going to be too hard. You're going to cry and scream, and then head to the couch to sob. That's how bad it was.
That sucks.
Yeah. It was bad. It's much better now, but that first week was terrible. And I had a lot of internal bleeding as well. So I lost a lot of blood during the surgery. Quite a bit, and those people who know me know I don't have a lot of blood to lose. That's kind of the point. That's why we did the surgery. So, I've been feeling a little tired, a little dizzy, and I was like, oh, I just need some iron. I need another one of my little iron infusions. So we went to the lab to go do the test, because before they'll give you any iron, they have to test to make sure that you need it. And this was yesterday.
And that was yesterday. All of this shit happened yesterday. Damn.
Yeah, this is all from yesterday. So 1 second.
Where the fuck is the one spot of dirt? Honestly, I just need like another $6 to. I just need another $6 just so I can get some soap because I know that's gonna help.
Okay, real quick. Do you see the game on stream? I just want to be sure because I'm not seeing it on my screen, but that's probably
I'll
because
check.
it's Alabama has terrible internet.
I can see it.
Okay, cool. So
I said,
anyway,
who followed? Thank you
so
for the follow.
yeah, game is up. Cool. So I go there. They do their test. They hook me up, take some blood as they often do, and then we go home to get ready for some other stuff that I have to do that day,
Mhm.
including another TTRPG stream, which I was looking forward to. I
Mhm.
was going to be a pirate, and it was perfect because yesterday was Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, I was like so ready for this. And on the way home, before we get home, the lab calls us and said, "You have to go to the ER right now. You need to go there. You need a blood transfusion."
Oh.
So my blood count had gone below the severe anemia levels to the life-threatening levels.
Oh.
So, and then for the next 14 hours, they took a total of 17 vials of my blood, but gave me 2 big bags of blood. And yeah, and that took 14 hours because when they do a blood transfusion, first of all, they got to know what your type is, and your type
Mhm.
can change on you, so you can't just say, "Well, I know what my type is." No, they
Your
have to
type
check
can
it.
change.
Yes, yes. Especially if you get like blood infusions and so on, because that can have an impact on your blood. So they have to know. Because as it turns out, I'm O positive, but I have negative antibodies for some reason. I don't know what that means, but it's weird. So it takes them about an hour to figure out what kind of blood you got, and then cook it up basically.
Mhm.
And then they put that in your system. That takes like 3 or 4 hours to get all the way in. And then once that's done, they have to wait another hour, and then they do what's called a purple test, or at least that's what the nurses were calling it, where they check to see what your blood count is now. Yes, I
Gotcha.
got the yin yang blood. When I went in there, I had a blood count of 6.3. Average for an adult is somewhere between,
Thanks for
for a
the
healthy
reminder.
adult, is between 11 and 13. 6.5 to 7.9 is considered severely anemic. Anything below 6.5 is considered life threatening, which is why they sent me.
Gotcha.
And the first bag of blood, because they were like, "Oh, we'll just give you a bag and everything will be fine." They gave it to me, and I went from a 6.3 to a 6.7, and they were like, "Nope, nope, not good enough."
We gotta make sure to keep you inside during Halloween.
I know, but
Cause
that's
like
just
if a
it.
vampire jumps you, it's over.
Well, you know what? That's it.
But
That's
maybe
the
they'll
funny
spit
thing.
you out because you don't have enough iron.
Well, my lore, literally, like, not to immersion break too hard, but my lore is that literally my bunny serves a Lady Demastrous kind of vampire queen. So
Ah. Actually, I would like to know more about the lore.
it's complicated. It's
I don't
it's too
mind.
complicated, quite
We
frankly.
got 2 hours.
We got 2 hours.
You don't
Uh,
understand. You don't understand, Bishy. I got the loretism.
the lordism.
The loretism.
She's taking too much blood.
She's
Well,
taking
it's
too much
part.
blood. We need to sign
Well,
you up
part of
for
the
a
problem.
union.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly. I should sign up and make a complaint. But you know what? I mean, when she's hungry and she's got that look in her eyes, what am I going to say? No? You
Yes.
know a bun? I'm
Especially if the job
encouraging.
doesn't offer health insurance. Yes, please.
I I think the job offers fringe benefits.
Fringe benefits.
Yes, of the
What are the fringe
not
benefits?
of the naughty persuasion of the
Ah.
you know. I fully admit I am on the lewd. Get wanting more of the marvelous fun, but damn. Okay, yeah,
But if you
something.
die in the
Yeah, I feel you.
process, how are you gonna get to enjoy it?
Oh well, that's just it. Okay, so going to the lore.
It'll be a happy death.
No, okay.
I
This is
find
gonna
that.
this is gonna sound so meta.
Uh huh.
Uh, Bishi dies, but comes back every day at dawn. Reset back to factory settings.
Ah, we out
So
of stock. I was trying to get some cleaner liquids. I just want to live.
you know, soap is valuable. But yeah, so it's not immortality. It's kind of the opposite. It's not that Bishi can't die. It's that Bishi can die multiple times, and
Uh,
there's no defense with it either. It's not like I don't have any defense. I feel the pain and all of that sort of thing, and I still have the memories of it. But my body's perfectly fine the next day.
mhm.
I'm one of those people who uh, we'll go to an immersion break for a second. I'm one of those people who likes making OCs and then torturing them a little bit.
No, I get it. I I only have one character that I've done that. Well, actually, okay, so it's like half and half, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll give them a very torturous backstory, and then I'm like, that's enough development for today. I'll help you have a good day. Like, for example, like when I first got into world building outside of like self-insert fan fiction, because like
Mm-hmm.
I guess my first, pretty much my first brush with world building was when I was in middle school and I was really into Black Butler, and it's just like I don't know how to make lore by myself, so I'm just gonna make something within the lore. And it was
Mm-hmm.
literally just after a couple of passes, I just ended up combining the Abe Lincoln Vampire universe with the Black Butler lore. But when I started to do it by myself, I had this one character who's pretty much a D&D lizard person, but she worked as a professional wrestler, and like her persona was a monster hunter because in that world that I was making, um, monsters exist. It was pretty much
Mm-hmm.
like D&D adjacent, and
Yeah.
like the opponents that she would have would dress up as monsters for her to fight in the ring. But then one time, monsters actually came and showed up in the ring, and she like lost her mentor and stuff, and he like dies brutally, and all she has left of him is like a armband that he would wear. So she like wears his armband as a tribute and whatnot, and then she actually ends up joining the Monster Hunter Guild, so she can actually feel like a hero.
Nice.
But there is one character that I put through the ringer.
Is this
Um,
blood?
I'm
I'm
nosy.
sorry.
I'm a
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no. I'm
good
nosy.
God, look at this. I just noticed how red this is.
It looks
Is this?
like
Did they
yeah. This
sacrifice someone?
yeah. It feels like that because like it's one thing if the fountain was copper and we were like getting off the oxidation, but no, this is the inverse. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So how do you
Okay.
get that damn dirty? That's like bad.
That's a lot of people dying. It'd be interesting if there was like a time element to this, and if
Mhm.
you didn't do it in time, these gnomes came to life, and that's where the blood comes from.
Uh, we get jumped by the gnomes.
Yeah. Now I understand 100% the whole fanficking thing because back in the day, I was a fanfic writer.
Mhm.
Wrote some semi-infamous fanfics,
I can
and
imagine.
I was even on a fanfic, couple of fanfic panels for Anime Weekend Atlanta.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Are you from? No, you probably wouldn't be. Have you
Maybe
ever read any Ranma fanfic?
Ranma. I know what Ranma is.
Okay, okay.
I know what Ranma
One
is.
one of my friends wrote like the premier dark fic for Ranma.
Premier Dark Food for Ranma.
Yeah, it's called The Bitter End.
Ah. Yeah, that sounds about right. If it's a dark fic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I wrote one too. I'm not going to name it because, unfortunately,
Self
if you
snitching?
look up, yeah, it will tell you my name, my
Uh,
RL name, and I'm not. Yeah,
yeah.
that's a little much. That's a little much of me doxing myself.
Mhm.
But it was really really well received, and it plus a bunch of Tenchi Muyo fanfics that I wrote
Mhm.
uh, got me like a little title, and people knew me, and I was sort of in the scene pretty hardcore for a while there.
Gotcha.
And
That's
then
pretty
I
cool.
started writing, yeah, and then I started writing commissioned erotica, and got paid. I got paid to let people live out their very bizarre fantasy.
How bizarre. You know that one meme? I look like a horse in JoJo. How bizarre. You don't have to answer. Um,
Let
it was
me put it to you
it was
this
a
way:
rhetor.
I'm okay. No,
Oh,
no,
you
no.
can
I
answer.
I can do this. I can do this.
Uh huh.
I'll put it to you this way: I have always been a huge believer in tag because some of the stuff that I am writing both is very intense,
Yeah.
some of it is very odd, and I do not want somebody's joy to turn into somebody else's really bad triggering day.
Yeah.
So I'm really big about that.
Yeah. Um, I once had a conversation about that with Luna Daydream. Luna is Eldritch VTuber who's like a girl next door. She's like hiding as a girl next door. I really love her design because
Hmm.
it looks like basic clothes at first, but when you look at her hair, the underside has tentacles, and I like the
Hmm.
subtlety of it. We were actually talking about like fanfic and tagging and stuff. I think it was last month or earlier this month. It was earlier this month, and we were talking about stuff like tagging and whatnot because I was talking about Inkblot, and Inkblot is like a new artist site that's like trying to replace DeviantArt
Hmm.
since DeviantArt has gone to crap with all of the AI and whatnot. And
Yeah.
their NSFW policy is requiring at a minimum, I think, of like 3 tags, which is really important because like one, it helps people find what they're looking for, and it also helps people not be bothered with stuff that they don't want to.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
like nobody's entitled to an audience.
Yeah. 100%. And when it comes to the stuff that I was commissioned, the way that you, I just got rated. 1 second.
Oh yay!
Um, it's Simi Enigma. Oh my
See,
god.
and here you
Oh my
were.
god.
Here you were worried that nobody would show up. But now here you are. Somebody Simi brought an entire party.
Yes, yes, yes. 1 second. I gotta remember how to shout out people. I haven't done this in a while. You know,
It's
you.
like backslash shout out and then you type out
Yeah,
the
yeah,
name.
yeah. Hello, Simi. Is that it? No, that's not it. I did the other thing. Oh my god.
These
Professional
gnomes are
streamer,
just
everyone.
these gnomes
You
are
know what?
just
I'm not a
nasty.
professional streamer. I'm a professional bun. That is very different. Yes, and absolutely. Follow Simi Enigma. She is amazing. She is a fantastic artist. Very, very sweet. I am pretty positive that she just finished a stream where she was drawing pictures of herself carrying people in a pet thing,
She
which is
was.
amazing. Yeah. Um, I am doing fine. You missed the story. I told everybody the story of what happened yesterday. So if you're curious, you will have to check the VOD and find out the trials and tribulations of a bun who almost died. Uh, literally,
She is
uh,
literally suffering like Job out here.
yeah, 12 hours ago. I almost died. No dying. I will. I won't. I'll do my best. Or if I do die, I'll die like Bishy and come back the next
Meanwhile, I can't be killed in any way that matters.
day.
Like I'm so for
And thank
real.
you.
I've almost died like 8 different times, and I'm like, huh, that's crazy.
I've had some brushes for sure. We can talk about the April 27, 2011 at some point. Let me look at everybody. Okay, so everybody who followed, thank you very much. I always love. Hello there, Femboy Bastet. Thank you. You are a cutie too. Thank you for the kisses, Calvera Umbra. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing anybody's name. I'm actually quite famous for that. I'm incapable of properly pronouncing. I watched the Robin Williams Popeye when I was a young kid, and ever since then I've had a problem with my pronunciation.
It's amazing how we pick up certain habits from media. Was there a habit from certain media that I like? Hmm. Like me, I pick up
I
manners from speech of people that I hang out with.
yes, that too. Yeah, if I'm hanging out with people for a while, I will start. I have to be careful because I'll start taking on, like their accents a little bit, and it's like okay, there's camaraderie, and then there's being insulting. So you got to be careful with that.
Yeah, because like there was a friend that I used to have, and like every time somebody would be crying or something, they would go, "Me too." So now whenever I'm in public and there's like a kid crying or something, I say, "Me too."
And
I'll
thank
reach
you,
for.
Simi Enigma. I'm glad that I am okay too. It literally was a threat. Unfortunately, I was at 6.3 in my blood count, which is in the you got to see a doctor now.
Yeah, at least you didn't have to wait.
Yeah, and my sister was super sweet. She was there with me the whole time. So I spent 14 hours getting taken care of, and she spent 14 hours basically keeping me company, keeping me from panicking, while at the same time trying not to panic too.
Mhm. That's so awesome, though. It's great to have
Yeah.
family like that.
My family ended up being very very tight knit. Like we're all pretty close because we all bound together to fight a monster. Who was my father? Who was that Methodist minister I mentioned?
Oh yeah, I remember that. How you said because your mom was like the first lady and she would direct the choir and stuff.
Mm-hmm. That
Uh
is true.
huh.
Yeah, and yeah,
See, I
my
have
dad was a United
approximate
Methodist.
knowledge of many things. I'll hear it.
I'll tell you something interesting. So
Mhm.
my father was a United Methodist minister. Can you guess why he got kicked out of the ministry?
Hmm. Was it scamming?
No,
Uh.
he that was not something that he did. He was definitely when it came to money like situations, like he's never he that was not where he was terrible.
Um.
He would
Was it
not do
something
something like
violence related?
that. No, because all of his violence was focused on his family,
Mhm.
and was
All
not known.
categories. So if it
Yeah,
wasn't
mental,
scamming,
physical.
if
Yeah,
it wasn't violence and it wasn't scamming,
sure thing, Simi. We love a
um,
lurker.
if it wasn't violence and it wasn't scamming, yeah, I can't guess.
Okay, so as it turns out, my father was kicked out of the United Methodist Ministry, and I want you to pay attention to the wording.
Mhm.
He was kicked out of the Methodist ministry for committing too much adultery with his parishioners.
Oh.
The wording is important because it implies that there's a certain amount of adultery you're allowed to commit with your parishioners
Yeah.
and still be a
That's funny
preacher.
as hell.
But whatever the limit is, he went way over.
He went way over.
Way over. Like
I, w-
impressively over.
I wonder if a woman were to commit it, then the stoning would happen. Like, okay, so I'm just thinking about. So recently, this Sunday, I went to the country with family and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and we were in church, and we were actually talking about that like specific passage where a woman was about to be stoned for being caught in the act of adultery. And I was making jokes about my mom had to tell me to shut up because I'm like, isn't this a two-person activity at
Yeah, yeah.
minimum? And,
One hundred percent. 100%.
and like she agreed, but she was just like, "You're too loud." This isn't a group discussion. This is a presentation. Sit down and like, and I was just thinking about that because like that was also the Sunday I handed out a lot of business cards and stuff because the preacher was just like, "Oh, you were drawing," and I'm like, "Who told you that?" My grand aunt snitched on me because like I was writing notes, but I was also drawing sketches of Golden Kamuy characters because like okay, it's like every church that I go to is freezing as hell, and if I don't keep my hands busy when it's cold, I'll fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
So if I wasn't like taking notes, I was like drawing Ogatha because I got problems. I
Nothing
got
wrong
a
with that.
I got a crush on an emotionally absent man, and then like okay, I'm so delulu about this character because like when you like a character, so you try to find common interests in order to justify. Not that I need justification. I'm not asking people to give me validation because nobody pays my bills, but like,
Right, right, right.
but it's just like oh, he's a sniper. I used to want to be a sniper. He's based off of an Arkansan. I grew up in Arkansas, like. And that was so crazy to find out because I was just looking up fun facts and stuff. It was just like, yeah, this person was based off of somebody in Arkansas and da 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 da. And I'm like, somebody thought about Arkansas? Like,
That's one of the things that's really cool about that series is that so much of it is has that historical base.
mm-hmm. Like I look. Wait, you watched the show? Oh my god, Bishy! I've been trying to get other people into it. I'm literally going door to door. Would you like to talk about our Lord and Savior, Serpa Christ? Especially when there's literally a scene in both the manga and the anime where it's the Last Supper, and I high key spoiled myself because I'm like, oh, let's see who's paralleled with each person, and then I saw who was Judas, and I'm like, oh,
Mmm.
and then I got to the episode where it happened, and I was like, oh, that hurts.
Well, there you go.
I was mad as hell. I was happy to see like Sugimoto paralleled with Saint Peter though because like yes, he would cut a bitch for his bestie.
I have though when it comes to like characters that you're really 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 into like for me one of them is Darkness from Konosuba.
Mhm.
Um, and the funny thing is like there's all kinds of obvious reasons. Oh, okay, well she's hot and all
Mhm.
this sort of thing, and she's sort of similar and
She very
uh,
much matches your freak.
yeah, she matches my freak for sure. But then I also like if you put me on the tangent, then I will start talking about like the real stuff that really appeals to me about her.
Mhm.
And it's like you're taking this character way too seriously. This character was not meant to be put through this lens, but
Well,
you
somebody's
know,
got to do it because the writer isn't. Me at me at some
but
shows,
the
legendary at
writer has
sometimes.
a very specific thing that they're doing, which I appreciate.
Mhm.
I like the fact that the writer for Konosuba and the writer for ReZero are really good friends,
Mhm.
which is why like there's a lot of back and forth between Kazuma and Subaru, like the tracksuit and all that.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think I one of the things that I really like about Darkness though is the inherent concept, which is the idea of someone who uh, to protect their friends they take the pain onto themselves. Now, granted,
Mhm.
for her, it's exciting, it's fun, it's woo, but she does though take the punishment for them. That's like her whole deal. And there's something about that that's appealing to me and also relevant to me because that's what I used to do with our father.
Mhm.
If I saw he was getting a particular way with my sisters, I knew ways to get his attention
Mhm.
really quickly and get his ire, and then so I would take the beating so that they didn't have to. So there's something about that because she's also kind of a big sister type,
Mhm.
you know, compared to the others.
Mhm.
And I like the fact that she takes like so everybody. One of the jokes in Konosuba is that everybody's terrible, one way or the other. They all
Yeah.
have their problems for sure.
Mhm.
But I like the fact that she took a problem that happens a lot in anime, the pervert in an anime. And in most anime, the pervert is nothing but, oh my god, there's the pervert doing their thing again, rolling our eyes. Let's wait till this is over so we can get back to the story.
But at least for
Nine
her, it's
times.
actually effective.
Yes, yes. She found a way to use it in such a way that it helps her friends.
Hmm.
You know, and she doesn't really focus it on her friends either. She focuses it on like the monsters they're fighting, so and other things like there's obviously there's when it comes up with friends, she's more vulnerable, you know,
Hmm.
especially with Kazuma, which is a shame because Kazuma is Kazuma.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
He's a
I
villain. Is he kind of a villain?
Kazuma is hilarious. Kazuma
Like, I
is
don't.
not a good person.
Because, like,
It's just
okay.
it's the way it is.
I've seen. I tried watching Konosuba, and it just wasn't
Hmm.
my cup of tea.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
I'm only vaguely familiar, and I'm definitely not going to base, like, my knowledge off of memes, because we know how things can, like, get skewed
Yeah,
for the sake of comedy.
but I
And
mean,
sometimes the comedy isn't even funny. Like, some memes. Like, I hate it whenever somebody is just like, it's just a joke, and it's just like, no, I get that. It's just that you're not funny. I'm like semi picky when it comes to comedy. And the
well,
sad part
even
about it, I'm
when
not even a snob because I'm not even that knowledgeable on like the history or whatever, and I don't think that people should have to be, really, because everybody has different senses of humor. But
yeah,
it's just like sometimes I could come across as a snob, and it's just like, no, I do not know these comedians that were like prominent in the 1960s or whatever. Like, no, I am not Joker and Tim Drake in a random Batman conversation because apparently they talk to each other about comedy. That's a that's a funny thing. But
yeah,
yes,
yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
what about Cosmo?
He's a terrible person. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and he's meant to be a terrible person. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, and this is again where the fact that he's the writer is friends with the ReZero creator, because
Mm-hmm.
Subaru's a terrible person too. And that's the point is that the whole series is him, what it takes to redeem and make him a better person
Mm-hmm.
because of his situation. Because the whole point in ReZero is that just because you go to a fantasy world, you're still you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you aren't magically just a better person because you're in a fantasy world. You're not the hero in this fantasy because this fantasy world is it might be a fantasy to you, but to the people who live there, it's life and death. It is their reality. You
And
know,
it's unfortunately a Tuesday.
yeah. Hey, and there's some echoes there of like the white savior trope as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just the idea of this kid coming in and just because, well, I know D&D stats and suddenly saving everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the writer for ReZero, like the storyline is very much about Kazuma coming in with that attitude
Mm-hmm.
and getting absolutely bodied again and again and again because again, this
This isn't a
world,
video game.
yeah, this isn't your world. This isn't a video game. This is real life for these people, and either you're going to get killed by it or you're going to get someone else killed, and you're going to feel the misery of that because even though Subaru is not a great guy, it's not that he doesn't want to be. He wants to be better. He just, he's got problems and he doesn't know how. And the whole series is a crucible about what it takes to become a better person.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's
which is
not
why
easy,
I
but
have a
it's
lot of respect for it.
necessary.
Well, it's also why a lot of people don't like ReZero because they see the main character and they're like, I don't like this character. And it's like, some of you, that makes perfect sense. You just don't like the character. But some of you don't like this character because it's you. It's who you'd be in a isekai,
Mm-hmm.
It is the sort of assumptions you would make, the sort of way you would treat these people as though they weren't actually people; they were just NPCs in your world.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like this mirror, so pay some attention. But anyway, Kazuma is that person. Kazuma
Yeah.
is 100% the terrible person, and he does not care. Like he knows he's a terrible person, and he has no qualms. He's nice
Mm-hmm.
where he wants to be nice, and he's a jerk where he wants everywhere else. And he's very, very much feeling like he's put upon all the time. He's always, like I'm always being tortured. Why can't I have a better life? And it's like you
What's
live in a
that?
fantasy world with these gorgeous, awesome, amazing people. Can you not be happy? No, of course not, because you're Cosmo.
What's that one joke? Dang it, what's that one Donald Duck rhyme? You know about how he's always down on his luck.
I don't know.
Cause like Donald Duck used to have a theme song, and it was something about always being down on his luck. I can't remember.
See, that was back before Don. Probably that was probably before Donald Duck became a like an actual character when
I think that was the
that
beginning of it. Like that was
yeah
before he got the lore with his nephews and stuff. But like it was like
yeah
the shorts with the antics that he would go through and try to overcome or fail to overcome.
yeah, and everybody knows that that's Goofy's gig.
I say it's half and half. Like Goofy, because sometimes Goofy can inadvertently cause misfortune for others, whereas Donald is like on the receiving end.
But the thing about Goofy is that he eventually became. Now both of them ended up, advancing. Goofy with the Goof Troop and Donald with, uh,
Ducktales.
yeah, Ducktales, which are based on the comics, which were pretty intense when they came out. But for a while there, Goofy, like my favorite Goofy cartoons are the Everyman cartoons. Where it's like Goofy at the Olympics,
Mhm.
Goofy
Like
trying to
football,
yeah, or
the
Goofy
Sugar
trying to
McMahon.
clean his house. He's being the stay at home dad, and then the implication throughout that cartoon that he is being seriously NTR'd again and again by like everybody,
Mhm.
including the milkman, and it's just and he's oblivious to it too. It's like friendly fella.
No wonder why Max's mom is gone.
Well, I
Has
don't know.
anybody questioned? Has anybody
I
questioned?
well, okay. I don't know. I don't know, but I like to
Did he
think
find
that
out and we had a Goofy's trial moment, or did she just leave, or it could be anything.
I'm sure we could look up and find out like what happened to Goofy's
I
wife.
know in the Goofy movie, I think she died. Maybe.
Yeah, and if you look at the Goofy, the wife in the old cartoons, you
Mhm.
never see her head. You just see her body,
Mhm.
and she
It was.
doesn't look like a dog. She doesn't look like a Goofy. She looks, actually, she kind of looks like because of the skin tone and all that. She looks kind of like Peg. That's interesting. I never thought
Kind of
about that.
reminds me of like Tom and Jerry with the disembodied people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. But no, I get what you were saying about darkness and relating to experience. To an extent, I can actually relate to Okata,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy to say because the dude is a full on. See, that's the thing. One person did an analysis and said that he was like a psychopath, and other people also say sociopath.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's autistic,
Could be.
and there's like, although I also see the other reasons. I can see the other perspectives as well, but I don't know. This dude got problems, like straight up.
Oh yeah.
Mainly those feelings of like isolation and always feeling that something is wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
Although the
Mm-hmm.
reasons why he feels that something is wrong with him is very different. With
Yeah.
because he thinks that because he comes from an unconventional family and stuff that he was like born wrong.
Yeah.
Especially when it doesn't help that some of the people around him kind of affirmed that by saying he was cursed and whatnot. Whereas me, it's like thinking that something is wrong because of like people with being around people with similar experiences and backgrounds of me, but still not feeling that sort of kinship and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like there have been times where I talked about how nobody has made me feel insecure about myself more than people in the same demographic as me with some
Yeah.
stuff. Because it's just like when it comes to people who are different, especially like in situations where you're like a marginalized person and dealing with people of privilege, you kind of don't expect it because of like the system at play.
Yeah. No,
But
I
like
get
when it
it.
comes to people who you're supposed to quote unquote have solidarity with and like still feeling out of sorts in like a way that can be downright hostile, it's just like damn.
Couldn't you, of everyone, be the person who reaches out and at least tries to understand?
Yeah, I
I
do
get
that
that.
because I feel like I have an understanding of things, especially when it comes to like, and other times it's not necessarily hostility. It's like being understanding why people like things, but not
Hmm.
sharing those same feelings, and that can create a frustrating. Wait, hold on. I was just like, what's going on with my controls? Uh, what's going on with my controls? It's not letting me move. Or did my controls go back?
You are moving. I see you moving.
You
Like you're
see me
jumping.
moving?
Yeah. Now you're moving toward me.
But I wasn't trying to. Like, okay, I'm pressing the back button. I can't move forward. Oh, it's because I shifted my hand and I wasn't noticing. I'm
Okay.
still like sometimes I got the percussion syndrome where I
Yeah,
played
yeah, yeah.
percussion in band where you look at the screen and you're not looking down and I'm not hearing the change and it's just like this is a keyboard. Not an actual
Yes.
keyboard. This is a computer keyboard, not the kind you play. But
No, no,
like
I totally get it. If my nephew moves this keyboard like 1 inch to the side, I like it just totally destroys me for a second until I go, what just happened?
I'm like, whoa. But no, it's just like you understand why people are into the thing because like I don't like being told that I don't go here because it's just like no, I don't go here, but I'm definitely next door. I get it. It's just
Mm-hmm.
that I don't share those feelings because like there have been times where I feel like maybe I'm like there's straight and then there's queer where you're like going against the norm, but maybe I'm like super queer because I don't understand other queer experiences, especially when it comes to like media and stuff because like there wasn't a lot of stuff. Like people talk about their love of Oron High School Host Club or Yuri on Ice or even other stuff like say Utino or Banana Fish.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I respect these pieces of me, except for Oron. I don't respect Oron. Too many characters got on my goddamn nerves. And then it's also like yes, How Do He is great as like an introduction to non-binary stuff, but there's like a lot of stuff in there that's also very queer phobic, and I wish that people would talk about that instead of being like it's transformative or something. Well, not transformative. That's not the word. It's like my feelings when it comes to Anne Rice when it comes to certain things. Like yes, Anne Rice was brave for writing explicit queer relationships during the 70s after the fall of the Hays Code and stuff. But also she was racist as fuck. Can we please stop putting her on a pedestal for the love of Christ? But please, I'm tired of her. And then now that that series has come out, it's just like, oh hell, here we go again. Cause like I hate Anne Rice. She's the reason why a lot of American authors won't let go of the South because I feel like they got vindicated by her popularity. Now every now every major American vampire fic has to do with the Confederacy in some way or form, and I'm tired. I'm bored.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
so
Well,
bored.
yeah.
Like let it go. Let it go. Why are you from Nebraska saying that the South will rise again? Like it's time to leave. But
Have you
you
ever
know,
seen? Okay,
hmm?
real quick. Have you
Yeah.
ever seen Brennan Lee Mulligan's thing playing a ghost from the Confederacy?
Brennan Lee Mulligans. Why does that
Brennan
sound?
Lee Mulligan is the DM for Dimension 20.
Ah, see, I have not engaged with any of D20 content. I just know
Okay,
that Beauregard exists, and I liked her because she reminded me of Sokka visually,
okay.
and
I
that's
will
it.
tell you.
I
I
don't go here.
look up Brennan Lee Mulligan as a Confederate ghost,
Hmm.
and you will. I believe you will find it amusing. Because I certainly did. Because it's basic, like he starts out like what you're talking about, with the Confederate vampire and South will rise again, and
Hmm.
then he comes out like the ghost and is like, and I am here to tell you all that I am sorry, I was wrong, and he just goes off on this whole little thing about
Oh my god.
like it's great. It's great.
Cause
And
like,
I think that a vampire would feel the same way, quite honestly. He'd be like, you know
yeah,
what? This was, you know, or come at it a different way from a like, look, that was what we were doing because we are vampires and because it was a way to
yeah. The common thing
gain a
is
you gain a profit kind of thing going
gain a
on, and it was
profit.
yeah, and it was terrible.
Vampirism
You
as
people
a
should not be happy about it.
vampirism as a allegory for human exploitation,
Yes,
with
exactly.
literally free access to meat and stuff. I get it, cause like honestly, it is an interesting angle. It's just that the frequency. I'm like, do something different. I'm bored. I'm bored. Cause and then part of it is
Well,
the
don't have pride
romanticism, but
in
the
it, you know.
don't have pride in it, especially when you don't even go here. These be folks from like the Midwest, and you're writing as if you're making the next damn Gone with the Wind. Like, you don't go here. Shut up. That's like, cause you know how like I might get a little bit political. Fascism is low key making a cup, and by low key I mean high key. It's here, and
Yeah.
how
Trust
some
me.
and how like in some parts of Germany with the folks who are trying to do a comeback out of because of like the censorship laws with having that they're like hanging up Confederacy flags because it pretty much means the same thing
Yeah,
and stuff, and it's just like you don't go here.
yeah,
You don't go here. Why are you like, or how it's happening in Canada, and it's just like you definitely don't go here. You go here less.
yeah. And like you have your own problems. Quite frankly, if you're going to do something,
Ooh, don't get
your
me started on
problems is more with the
Canadians. Are there any
indigenous
Canadians
people.
in the chat?
Yeah,
Because I don't want to.
apologies.
I don't want to be mean, but wait, you're Canadian?
Wait. Who?
Who's
Me?
Canadian in here? Oh, I thought you
Oh,
said my apologies, because I'm like, are you Canadian?
no.
It's okay.
I'm 100%. I'm a Bama bun, and I can't say anything about that. Seals
Oh
the
yeah,
bunny and
because
takes you to bed, if you must.
I
One second.
remember when Artemis is an artist, and she's really great. Um,
Hmm.
for those who aren't familiar with her work, if anybody's seen like the VTuber Spider Sonas, she drew like a lot of those when Across the Spider Verse came out. Hey Dion, but couldn't find out she was from Canada, and I was low key bullying her. I'm like, y'all
One
are
of my
just
favorite
America
people is
but
from,
French. Y'all can't
and
even
more
do your
polite.
own right wing movements. Y'all had to do the trucker version of January 6th. Y'all will always be in our shadow. Like, I was just going.
Ooh,
Nobody
ooh.
gives a fuck about
No,
poutine.
no, they have a. You know what? I'm not going to talk about it. Especially since no one if Shadow Mist was here, then she it would be fine because she's from Canada and she could you
Hmm.
know give her perspective and she's a sweetheart, by the way. I am not implying anything about her other than the fact that she's one of the sweetest people I know for sure, for sure.
Dion said, "Oh, the
Um,
shots fired in here." Like, okay, like I'm not xenophobic, but when it comes to like my cousins and stuff, sometimes I low key gotta be because like, okay, I got cousins in Ghana and Nigeria, and it can be very difficult with having certain conversations because like you got somebody who thinks that they're confident and they're like black Americans are so lost and da 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 da, and I'm like, okay, how long has Ghana been a country again versus the United States? Because it's just like, because sometimes it gets very irritating, especially when you've been there and you know how things are, and it's just like, can we not have diaspora wars for the love of God? I don't want to deal with that. I just want to say good morning without being told that I have no culture or something. Please, dear cousin from Nigeria and Ghana, especially when the fact that it's just like y'all eat beans and boiled eggs for breakfast. Please do not talk to me about how I don't know my culture when you have effectively been colonized at breakfast time, because like who eats beans and boiled eggs for breakfast?
the British.
The British. And it's like, well, yeah, but it's just like, that just sounds so sad. They're just like, y'all never go off on Mexicans for doing that because frijoles are actually good.
Okay,
What do I look
uh,
like?
real real quick. Willow Hex, thank you for all the hydrates. I have drunk some of my Blood of Christ. I am feeling much better. If you're asking how my health has been and you don't know, yesterday I had a blood scare. I had to go to the ER because I was down to 6.3 on my blood count. But after they took 17 vials of blood and gave me two big bags of blood, I'm back to 7.7, which just means I'm only severely anemic.
Only
But thank you for asking.
severely.
Yes, only
This she was
severely
literally
yet
going through a
anemic.
Happy Tree Friends level of like disaster health wise.
Yeah,
The fact that I
yeah.
never watched. Actually, no, I have watched Happy Tree Friends. I watched like
I,
maybe 2 episodes, and then I also saw that
yeah,
music video that Fall Out Boy did. And I used to
it's one of
ship
those things where it's
Flippy
like,
with Flaky, even though I barely went there.
yeah, it's just one of those things that's like, if you're from a certain time period of the internet, you have to have at least experienced it.
Hmm. Also, speaking of food issues and stuff, I am eating one of your least favorite foods. Didn't you say that you don't like rice?
I do not like rice.
I don't think I've been there for you to explain why. Not that you have to validate yourself or explain yourself, but like, I also would like some
Okay,
closure, please.
okay. So the basics is I just don't like rice. I don't like the texture. I don't
Ah,
like the
the texture.
mouthfeel. I
Hmm.
don't like the flavor. And also, when I was a kid, I watched Lost Boys, and in Lost Boys, they hand the guy a a Chinese to go thing with rice in it, and he opens it up and it's maggots.
Ah,
And for some reason or another, that left an impression.
yeah.
And um, just
So it's hard to get
from my
away from that
perspective,
association. Yeah.
yeah, from
Cause
my
like I'm eating,
perspective,
I'm eating lamb
why not a
biryani right
potato?
now
I do like lamb. I do like lamb.
because I'm West African. Okay. And
I like lamb.
potatoes.
Now, granted, I
Potatoes.
like Greek lamb. The gyro, the partially beef lamb mix.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's one of my gyros are one of my favorite foods in the world.
I've yet to eat a good gyro. Like I need to find a good place because like I like Mediterranean food.
Hmm.
It's just that I've never really had a good gyro. Like I've only had like kebabs and stuff. Also, I found out that collard greens actually originated from Greece.
Hmm.
We just perfected it. We just perfected it. But but no, I've been eating biryani because there's like this one Indian restaurant that I got into because like I had a friend from college who's actually Pakistani, so she would cook both Pakistani and Indian food, and I am like a hoe for some biryani. Like it's a comfort food, but I have to make sure to like switch up my comfort foods because come to find out it's actually bad to eat the same comfort food all the time because you don't want to associate that food with sadness. So I have
Yeah,
like a list to cycle through to keep myself sharp so I
yeah,
don't
I kind of
experience
get that.
food depression.
Yeah, I would hate to lose out on beef porcupines, which right now I'm guessing you're trying to figure out what the hell a beef porcupine is.
Yeah, cuz I was just waiting. I'm like, "What?"
Okay, so this is actually going to be funny because beef porcupines actually contain rice. They are it's a hamburger meatball basically that
Mhm.
you mix with a wild type of rice and different spices, usually Lipton soup mix, onion mix.
So maybe the ratio and because it's saturated with other tastes that helps.
Yes, and the hamburger helps and all that. And
Mhm.
and honestly, it's more of a nostalgia thing because it's one of those it's one of those poor people foods. It's like this will make this hamburger that we had this little amount of hamburger last a lot longer.
Mhm.
So.
And then speaking of rice and horror, there was like this video that I saw from Insider.
Hmm.
There's this one woman who's like a horror chef. Like her thing is wait, give me just a moment. She's a horror chef. So like her whole thing is making edible props for horror movies. And I
Hmm.
actually because like this also ties into the Anne Rice thing. So one of the things that Anne Rice wrote was Queen of the Damned, and Aaliyah actually was the Queen of the Damned in that movie adaptation and stuff. And apparently she was a vegetarian. So the horror chef, she was like trying to find a way to make a ground meat sort of appearance. So she like mixed some, I think some rice with some sweet potato, and she put some cornstarch and a little bit of beet, like powdered beet dye, in order to have that look of ground meat for when she ripped somebody apart and tore into them.
Ooh, that whole everything you just said is making me go. Ooh,
Oh yeah, you don't like sweet potato either. How do you
I,
survive in this
how
region?
do I survive in the South? How do I survive? It a lot of barbecue, a
Yeah,
lot
that
of
helps.
barbecue, a lot of casserole. Since my father was a Methodist minister, uh, you do the fellowship dinners, right?
Yeah.
So what would happen is I was the son of the preacher,
Mhm.
and you'd have these little old ladies who had not much going on, except for the fellowship dinner, which is when they would show out. And
Mhm.
they, because I was a little bit of a round kid,
Mhm.
uh, they
You
would
were
look to see what I
squishy.
would eat. Yeah, they would look to see what I would eat, which was usually the macaroni and cheese and so on.
Mhm.
And the next month, the next fellowship dinner, there'd be like five different macaroni and cheese.
Because they
Everybody
wanted
using
to
their,
impress the royal family.
yeah, exactly. And like they would switch up the pies and all that and the cakes and all that. But it was my favorite part of being in that world,
Mhm.
was those meals. But yeah, it's a lot of barbecue. There's a lot of Southern food that I like, quite a bit. It's just like my favorite breakfast
Mhm.
is country fried steak biscuit,
Mhm.
from, especially if I can get it from Jack's. Get
Mhm.
them hash browns. That's just me being happy right there. That is happiness straight up.
Mhm.
I love country fried steak. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Let's see. With me, I don't think I have that many. Okay, so I have weird food restrictions. Like I'm allergic to tomatoes, but
Mm-hmm.
I can eat ketchup and sauce and stuff. It's just that like pretty much I can't have raw tomatoes and they got to be mixed with something. And then I'm allergic to raisins, but not grapes.
Mm-hmm.
You know how fruits are mostly water?
Yeah,
Whatever water was help keeping the allergy at bay in the grape, it gets concentrated once it dries out.
that makes sense. I hate raisins, so I'm 100% there with you.
Yeah, I always
Except
found raisins to be shit. Like when I tried it, or when I accidentally ate one because nobody told me. And like it's not too bad. Like I just get a rash. I could just use my EpiPen and I'll live. But it's just like who the fuck would eat this shit? Like I like dried bananas, like banana chips.
yeah, I will go ahead and say, not to be too gross. I've always thought of raisins as nature's. It starts with a B and has to do with the nose. I'll say that. I'm not going to say the word, but
Starts with a B. Ends with
yeah.
a. I was just gonna
What's
say
in your
nature.
nose?
Oh, okay. Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And funnily enough, that's actually how I look at grits. Grits. So rice to
Damn,
me,
how do you live here?
yes, I hate grits. In fact, grits is my least favorite thing in the world,
I
and it
only
is
like
the
grits at
one
the best of
food.
times. Like I am picky about the texture. Like it's got to be
Hmm.
cooked at a certain time because like it could be too liquidy, and I'm like, why'd you do that?
It's liquid toast, and I don't like it. And here's the thing. So we were just talking about rice being like, how I kind of associated them with the maggots.
Mhm.
For me, grits is the same thing, except all of these maggots had a cold and they sneezed on one another,
Ah, damn.
and that is what grits is to me. And I literally cannot sit next to someone eating grits.
Should have
I
been
have
born
to
up
move.
north.
Well, but then I wouldn't have the good barbecue.
I feel like there's good barbecue up north, depending. Like
Yeah, but it's not going to
northwest,
be.
maybe.
Yeah, but it's going to be more smoky up north, and I like the sweet. I like that.
Yeah.
The barbecue you have in the South, you could almost put that stuff on pancakes. You
Honestly,
know? So yeah.
like one time I had chopped chicken and I had that with a waffle. Like it
Willow Hex agrees
works.
that grits are bad, so that's two of us at least. You and me,
The
we'll we'll
grapes are
we'll
the
do
grape.
grits.
I actually
Grits.
love grapes. Like I'm a hoe for some green grapes.
Oh yeah, the especially when they're kind of like they're nice and firm,
Mhm.
and they have that little pop. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
Because I remember when I was making a fruit tray for, okay, so I'm an education assistant at this museum, and we were celebrating the Sweet 16 for the museum,
Hmm.
and cause I'm like, damn, and like the weird thing, the building has been there forever, but it only been recently been a museum, and I had to do a story time event, and I was like planning out the menu, and it's just like, what would I eat if I was 8 years old again? As if I don't eat it still now, because I don't believe in like locking food behind age unless it's like
Of
digestive
course.
related. Like, did you know that babies can't drink water? Do not give babies water
Hmm.
because apparently their bodies aren't prepared to digest it yet. I can't remember what's the cutoff time, but yeah, don't give babies water. Um,
That's okay. All the babies I have, I immediately set them up with a nice Baja Blast. They seem to love it.
Yeah, we just we,
That's a
we
good.
just we just put a little in the breast milk. It's fine. It helps build
Yeah,
character. We're breeding gamers.
exactly. Breeding the next stage.
What is it? What is it? Gamer husbandry? Like that's what we're doing. Yeah, husbandry is when you raise it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, am I using the right term? But I had to think for a minute. But damn, I forgot. Babies can't drink water. Oh yeah, I when I was making the fruit tray, it's just like, what is some fruit that I know that I'm gonna eat and stuff. It
Hmm.
was nice because we had about 17 people, which was close to like the estimated count. Cause like okay, in the sign up they said how many kids you were gonna bring, so I was just like assuming that everybody comes from like a two-parent household. I was accounting for kids and adults with the food. Cause like the hell do I look like being like no you. You're coming here for an hour and a half long event and only your child can eat. Like the fuck do I look like?
Hmm.
So I ordered like 60 something cupcakes and a big ass fruit tray and some cheese and crackers because I'm like, it's 10 a.m. and we're giving small kids sugar. They need something to round that out. And of course, like some water and stuff. It was nice because like we did cupcake decorating and I made like a playlist for it because I'm like, what do small children listen to? Because I know what kids listen to regardless if they're allowed or not. But we're inviting like 8 year olds and younger. So I was like listening to the music from the Yo Gabba Gabba reboot because there's a Yo Gabba Gabba reboot and DJ Lance. I think that's his daughter,
Hmm.
or at least she looks like she's his daughter. Like holy crap, they just copied and pasted him and hit the gender button and that's him. But
My sister has an interesting theory about Yo Gabba Gabba. By the way,
what's the theory?
every single one of the little the little foamy characters
Uh huh.
is this is gonna sound weird.
Uh huh.
Uh, it's just something that she's noticed.
Uh huh.
You can map them directly to a autoerotic toy of some sort, like every single one of them.
You know, I just thought of that for a couple of seconds and I get it. We're not gonna finish that because I don't want to have that. My pattern
That thought,
recognition kicked
yeah,
in.
yeah, not.
My like I already guessed like two and I don't want to continue. So Yo Gabba Gabba, I really like the guests that they have because I'm like they got Thundercat on Yo Gabba Gabba because they always had like music celebrity guests and
Hmm.
stuff. Nick has honestly always been on top of that when it comes to their kid stuff because I remember watching the Backyardigans and how they had Alicia Keys with a Boinga episode. I remember how when Wow Wow Wubsy had Beyonce for the Wub Girls, even though they should have had the entirety of Destiny's Child. Because how the fuck, how you got singers and it's three of them, and you got Beyonce to be, dang, which one was she? Like I know their names, but I can't remember which one is which. Like it's Sparkle, Shimmer, and Shine.
Hmm.
and I can't remember. Like Beyonce, of course, was the lead singer, but they should have had the entirety of Destiny Child be there. Cause like, come on, Nickelodeon, you already peaked at Boinga. Cause I remember somebody was just like, "What do you know about the backyard against?" And I'm like, "Nigga, I was born and bred in the backyard. You don't know about that mission to Mars? You don't know about International Super Spy Pablo? You don't know about Robin Hood the Clean? You don't go here. You don't know about the singing telegram Uniqua who tells you to smile? You don't know about Kuka Pele? Like, I'm literally just. I still listen to the Backyard Against soundtrack and stuff, but I was just like, they got Thundercat on Yo Gabba Gabba. I listened to it. It was lit. He was a cat, and he was
Of
singing
course.
about going outside, and I'm like, damn, we need some adults to learn about this. Because he was just like, I enjoy my special time outside. I unironically have it on my playlist because I just love Thundercat in general. Like I be getting on my partner's nerves. Sylvia is my partner. I be getting on her nerves about the Dragon Ball Durag song. Cause she's like, I don't get it, and I'm like, what is there to get? He narrates exactly what's going on. He's just asking a girl that he like about his Dragon Ball Durag, and it was so funny because the showrunner for Abbott Elementary, Quentin Brinston, she was in the music video. So it's funny looking back at that music video. And like, okay, it's even more funny, right? Because if you watch Abbott Elementary, Quentin Brinston, her character used to date Zach Fox's character, and Zach Fox is best friends with Thundercat. So like, it's all coming together
Oh,
in
coming
such
together.
a wonderful and terrible way. Because holy shit, are Zach Fox and Thundercat a terrible combo online. Like some of the memes that they be coming up with, I'm like, why are you like this? And I say that both endearingly and with disgust. Like it's not
Hmm.
bad. It's not bad morally. It's not like I gotta kill you, but it's just like I'm laughing so hard that I want to kill you to make it stop. It's like when you're being tickled, but you're obviously being tickled for too long,
Yeah, yeah.
or it's so absurd that you're laughing out of discomfort, but it's not like the evil discomfort.
No, I get it.
It's like, how do you achieve this?
How
Sometimes
do
I
I
feel
learn
that
this
way
power?
when it's like 7:30 in the morning, and then you tweet about some nylon fishy. Like I laugh. It don't like fishy.
I mean, look,
I'm
I
like, it's
just
never
am
too
who I
early.
am.
It's never too early.
I just am who I am, and
It's
I will
okay,
tell
cause
you this: I have always been the weirdest person in any room that I'm in. So, and a lot of it, like a lot of, even as the bunny, is me holding back on just how odd I am. So,
no, I
just
get
letting you
it.
know.
With me, let's see, how do I describe it? Sometimes my humor can be very out of pocket. Like I'll give an example. Um, one time when I was talking to somebody, I was talking about how we need to stop calling situationships, because they're too ridiculous to be seen as anything legitimate. We should just call them dick nanigans. And it and somebody's just like, well, what about lesbian relationships? And I'm like, there's a plastic dick involved probably. It's still gender inclusive. It's fine. Dick nanigans.
Well, I
Dick
mean,
nanigans.
shenanigans is right there.
Yeah, but not all lesbians are she.
That is true. And
And then I had
quite
to explain
frankly,
what dick nanigans
they
was.
yeah, and quite frankly, even if it's not a plastic dick, sometimes there's a dick involved.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Cause like I
some
had
of
to
it.
explain what dick nanigans was because like okay I got the word from a Key and Peele short, which was where they were
Mm.
making fun of performance art, and pretty much Key and Peele, they were the performance artists, and they were wearing these bodysuits. Think Pink Guy, and they would show acts of like society and stuff, and then at the end of each act, they would kick each other in the dick, and then say "Dick Nanigans," and that was like a form of social commentary about love being able to conquer the issues of society.
You cannot mention Key and Peele to me and not immediately have me hear the word blank because I'm not going to say that. Are writing Swifters from the the Harry Potter thing.
Oh
at the elementary
yeah.
school. Like some of these are riding Swiffers.
Oh my gosh. And then I will always remember the magical Negro skit, especially when that started to circulate when that movie was advertised. I was so pissed when I saw the trailer. Like, okay, I was not like I need people to stop saying that we need like a black Harry Potter because no, we don't. Harry Potter was meant, and I'm not even saying it out of like hatred towards J.K. Rowling because like I was a hater before she even opened her mouth because some of her problems was already showing up in her writing if anybody actually read and knew what was going on. Like you don't understand what it's like being surrounded by black people that was hyping up this book series and then you read it and it's just like this thing is racist as hell. Why were y'all hyping this shit up? You get betrayed by your own sometimes.
Hmm.
I'm like, what the actual
I
fuck? Like, what do you mean Hermione is being made fun of for trying to free the slaves, and then folks are asking for her
got
for
okay.
like
Oh
a
my
black
god.
version of her, like when the Harry Potter and the Cursed Child came out, and how they did the colorblind casting and made her black, and people were like, that fits her, and I'm like, the character who was considered more pretty for straightening her hair. Who got made fun of for trying to free the slaves and who got a slur carved into her arm? It's more fitting that she's black, guys. Can we think for 5 minutes? You
Yeah, the whole thing with the elves is like,
There's no, there's no such thing as colorblind casting because the world is not colorblind, and I gotta keep telling people this because folks were like, "Oh, we should have a live action Tim Burton version, live action Corpse Bride, and we should cast a black person to be Emily." And I'm like, because that's the bride's name. Her name is Emily, guys.
well,
Because
here's
like a
my
lot of
thing on
people
that
forget
because I
that.
saw this. I saw your Twitter post on that. And you know what
Mhm.
my thought was?
Mhm.
I wanted him to end up with the corpse bride, like because I'm that kind of goth. You know, it's
Mhm.
like why are you dealing with this other lady? She's perfect. She's amazing. You know, she's sassy. She's fun. She's hot. And you know, Bitey love. Who doesn't love Bitey love?
Mhm.
Come on.
Well, she's
You
not
know, it's
even
kind of like
zombie because she
yeah,
won't bite him.
it's kind of like in Beauty and the Beast,
Mm.
where at the end he turns into the dude, and you're like, wasn't he fine as a beast? Can we just not leave him as he was? I mean,
I,
granted, it's going to be interesting in the bedroom, but you know what? It's going to be interesting in the bedroom. Cool. You know.
I think that Beast's final transformation it would have been fine if he either kept some facial hair or if his hair color changed to represent.
Mm,
The problem with when it comes to transformations, it's one thing if you were like that for a short period of time, then you don't necessarily need to have like your body change in order to reflect that. But was like that for years. There should have been hints of it at least. Because honestly, they really did put all of the budget into Belle and Gaston. And people are like, Gaston isn't. No, Gaston is fine. He is textbook fine until he opens his mouth. That's the problem.
well, yeah,
Because, like,
as is the
practically.
problem with a lot of guys, quite frankly.
Because
But go ahead.
honestly, I cry. And, like, I need to go to Disney World on a day where he's actually there. Because, like, I've been to Disney World twice, and both of them were for band field trips. Because the first time it was, like, my senior year in band. And then the other
Hmm.
time was when I was chaperoning for band because my sister's also in band. And both times Gaston was not there because the first time we showed up late and I literally cried because there was already a lot of BS going on that day. And I'm like, if I could just have one good thing happen, and then the one good thing that I wanted didn't happen, and I was mad as hell. And then it rained on us, so I like cried even harder. And and then the other
I
time he just wasn't there. Like I gotta go there so I can roast him because I'm gonna be like introducing the winner of the Nobel Prize.
I have a lot of side little. They're all nitpicky stuff. They're all like BuzzFeed kind of stuff. But I have a lot of little nitpicky stuff when it comes to Beauty and the Beast
Hmm.
because, like, first and foremost, yeah, he was rude, but he was also a child. Second of all, he was rude. Was the staff rude to you? And third of all, if every single thing in there, from the knives to the forks, was a transformed person, how in the world did this country survive when literally half of their population disappeared? Not to mention a kingdom, like a full blown kingdom
Well, he was
just disappeared.
well, technically, I don't even know if Adam, because that's the beast's actual name. I don't even know if he, Cause like, okay, in the concept art, he's just a small lord.
Yeah,
He's just a small lord, and so it would be devastating, but not all that bad. And
but
then
well,
I am
it
trifling though,
would
cause I'm
be.
like fuck the monarchy, cause it was like
Yeah, yeah.
screw
It
everybody.
would be, except for the fact that if every fork is a person, this is in a medieval time. This is the Black Plague. The Black Plague hit when all of these people got transformed because one guy was a jerk,
Mhm.
and it's like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
I guess it was just like y'all are Frenchmen and you're not protesting this kind of behavior. You're not doing your country's due due justice. So you'll
Yeah.
be cursed too.
Yeah,
Y'all
this
should
is
have
one of
pulled
my
out.
favorite.
I'm cursing you for not pulling out the guillotine. You're
This is one of my
complicit.
favorite Disney thing is the Great Mouse Detective.
Mhm.
That is far and away my favorite. I mean, you got Vincent Price just absolutely being as extra as he possibly can.
Mhm.
You've got a full on burlesque show with mice. You got a really cool sort of borderline steampunk aesthetic going on in the background,
Mhm.
and there's just so much in that to like. Other than the fact that their Sherlock Holmes is kind of racist.
Uh,
Uh,
to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised
Specifically,
because didn't he serve? No, it was Watson
yeah,
who
Watson, sir.
served.
But
Did
no,
Watson serve in Afghanistan or India? It was one of the two.
I think it's Afghanistan.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, like the things that he says about Radigan as a rat, and there's a part of you that goes, maybe Radigan had a point. Um,
Well, they are
maybe,
British.
yeah, exactly. That's the other issue. It's like, uh, but I still loved it. As a
Mhm.
kid, like it's one of the few Disney things that I could watch over and over again.
Mhm.
Um, you know, I had a lot of problems with like The Lion King also,
Mhm.
which makes me a little off. But I
No,
mean,
I could get it because of how like off it is about animal dynamics and stuff.
yes, that's
That's
the
pretty
the
much
first thing
it.
is the dynamics.
It's
Because
it's just
Scar
the
did nothing wrong.
No, he did. Yes, he
Not
did.
not not as a lion, he didn't do anything wrong. In fact, as a lion, he was good because one of the things that
They
lions do
kick
is
out the
after they
males in order to prevent inbreeding. Yeah.
yeah, well, but one of the things that they do is they also kill um the old guards kids, and then they roll around in the remains and go up to the mother, and the mother smells her children on them, and it puts them back into a receptive state.
Yeah,
That
but
is one of the most horrifying concepts I've ever heard of.
yeah, but it's also like he's
Scar
still
didn't do that.
wrong as a male lion because of like his oppression of the lionesses because realistically they would have kicked him out.
Well, yeah, no, they wouldn't have accepted him, except for the fact, and this also goes back to that. It's like, so Pride Rock looks like somebody installed full on industrial revolution over there. I mean, it looks like a place that got hit by uh, a corporation of pollution. And it's like, what did Scar do? Did Scar make like, just making a pact with hyenas wouldn't have done this. He had to have gotten to some corporate people and sold some land to somebody who had a full factory. That is the only thing that makes sense here.
That is the only thing that makes it. I remember talking about the dynamics of the Lion King and what that could mean. I remember when somebody was just like, the Lion King too was about colorism because Scar's group was dark skinned, and I'm like, first of all, they weren't dark skinned, they were ashy. This is the Gross sisters from the Proud family. They were desaturated. They did not have a darker palette except for Kovu. And he was accepted before everybody else. It's fine. It's not fine. It's just like the moisturized lions versus the ashy lions. That was just it was just crazy. The
And
good
I
ending is distributing the shea butter.
Yeah, there you go. Well, and also the whole idea of, hey, bud, hope you're doing well today. I am. I'm doing much better after yesterday. Yesterday was 14 hours of oh my god, I'm in trouble. And afterwards, it was yeah, I'm feeling much better. I actually have energy today, which is probably because I have 2 full bags of blood inside of me that I did not have before. So woo!
Yeah.
And you know I needed them because otherwise, how would the bags have fit in me?
That
I was
reminds
sitting
me.
there thinking about that as they were pumping it in, and I was like,
I wonder if it's possible to have too much blood. Like, can you over inject
probably, because you'd probably like maybe like
like an
over
iron
oxygen.
overload or something?
Yeah, you'd have an iron overload. You'd have a over oxygenation of your blood and such. There'd be a lot of little issues.
Hmm.
I've been able to catch up, but I'm glad you're feeling better after the infusion. Thank you. It was a transfusion, actually. Uh,
That reminds me, I gotta
this,
donate blood next week. My school,
yeah,
they team up with the local blood donation thing, and they always give out like a free T-shirt or something with it.
oh, that's better than a cookie, I guess. Well, it depends on the cookie.
Well, they still give you snacks and stuff, but they give you a shirt in addition to the snack. Cause like they'll
What
give
kind of
out
cookie
like
do they give?
it's not just a cookie. They'll just bring like they'll go to Sam's and get like a
Hmm.
variety of pack of stuff. So they give out like muffins and Rice Krispie treats and stuff.
Ooh,
Like they'll have
okay,
you
that's
get some
good.
like they'll give you a bag of chips and they'll give you something salty and something sweet and a bottle of water and a free T-shirt. Like the whole shebang.
Nice. They gave me a free turkey sandwich while I was getting my transfusion.
Awesome.
It, it was kind of nasty, but you know what? It was sweet
Uh,
of them.
that's unfortunate.
We had okay, so we had Queen Nurse with us. I don't know if you ever go to a hospital like situation. Sometimes you will see the nurse who gets stuff done.
Mhm.
Everybody else is like, "Hey, I'll get you an extra pillow," or "Hey, I'll get this," or "Hey, I'll do that," and then they never follow through. This woman, everything she promised, she delivered, and she delivered in spades, and she would offer things, and she was so on point, so professional, so amazing. And I was like, "Oh my god, this is the queen of all nurses. We have found her."
Awesome. We love
Yeah,
having
I would.
healthcare professionals that are like it's one thing to get overwhelmed and stuff because I do have this one issue where like we've kind of gone through this in conversation because I have magpie brain where I like get distracted because I see something adjacent to it and then I'm like what was I doing again? But at the same
Mm-hmm.
time that's why we make to-do lists. That's why we make reminders for things, especially when it comes to like caring for somebody else. Now when I'm caring for someone, I'll remember immediately. But when it comes to like stuff like conversation, you've seen how many times that we've derailed
Yeah,
because of
it's
my
fine.
magpie brain.
Absolutely, no. It is 100% cool. But yeah, no. See, here's the funny thing. So when I had one of my first procedures, um, there was a
Mhm.
nurse there,
Mhm.
and this nurse hooked up the IV not into the vein but into my muscle, and then proceeded to fill my muscle with saline. And when I screamed, she looked at me upset, like she was annoyed. She's like, "Ah," and then she pulled it out and put it in properly.
I hate people like
And
that.
yeah, oh my god.
Like
And
hating, like straight up hating.
what was funny is while I was there, I mentioned that to one of the to a couple of the nurses and the technicians that was there, and the guy was like, "Is this?" And he named where it had happened. He named the facility, and I was like, "Yeah," and it's like, "I know her. I know exactly who you don't even have to name her. I
The
know
fact that
exactly
he
who you're talking about."
knows, like, why is she still working there?
Why are so many people in jobs that they shouldn't be? Why are
Yeah,
middle managers still a thing? You know,
bullshit
just
jobs. What's that? What's the author of that? I'm literally getting into into Ancom theory and stuff about that with bullshit jobs. Although there are some bullshit jobs that I kind of don't agree with. Like one of the categories that was covered because there are categories of bullshit jobs. Like there's stuff that are made to make
hmm
feel, and it was just like jobs that are made to make people feel important. And it's just like, have you considered that some people can't do these tasks by themselves? Because some people be
yeah.
disabled, man. Because it was just like grocery store baggers, and it's just like some people are
No,
disabled.
that's not a that is a perfectly. I mean, come on.
That's
No, no.
fine.
It, I keep the bagger. and take the middle manager who just comes out to, look around and tighten his belt and tell people that they have to come in late, early the next day.
Yeah,
Take him out,
because that's the
because
problem.
9 times out of 10, the stuff that he tells you to do, I need you to clean this, they're just justifying their position.
Yeah.
Like, I did something, yay, so I'm worth my salary, which is more than yours. And it's like, no, the bagger worked way harder than you did this entire day.
Mhm. Because it's one thing if the managers they were doing the thing, but they're also keeping track of
Yeah,
others. But like
yeah,
no, they just stand there, and that's the annoying part about it. Especially always hated this idea where you had to look busy.
yes,
Cause
yes.
like
If you have
no,
time to
if
lean, you have time to clean.
which is stupid because no, if I cleaned everything and I have time to sit down, that should be considered a good thing because I got stuff done efficiently.
Well, and
Like
that goes back
imagine being
to the
punished
whole,
for doing a good job.
yeah, well, that goes back to the whole remote work thing too.
Mhm.
They want you in that cubicle so they can watch you. They
Yes
want
and no.
that. It
Come to find
depends on
out,
the, yeah, it depends on the
like
job.
because one of the bigger reasons is actually taking up space with real estate.
Yeah, yeah, that is certainly true. Um,
I hate it here because I don't want to be going to work. I love my job. Like they don't pay me enough to be there, so I don't always go there. I just work from home, and it's allowed because it's just like because like okay, I'm a part timer and I work for the state. And you know what pissed me off was how the state was just like, yeah, we're increasing pay, and I'm like, for everyone, right? No, just for full time. And I'm like, why the fuck am I here? If it wasn't for the fact that I needed money and I don't like
hmm
get commissions on a regular basis, I would not be there. But I do like being there because it was actually through there that I managed to get more commissions.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and it is a nice experience. It's just that I need the state to put some money towards the part timers because like just because we're working part time doesn't mean that we have less bills or whatever. Yeah, I'm a student, but I would like to be able to buy other things. Like I was literally fighting with myself today because there's this one YouTube music series called Alien Stage and they came out with an art book and I got a problem cuz bishy like the little bookshelf that I'm allowed in my dorm that doesn't even hold a fraction of my art books. All of my other art books are at my mom's house in totes because I have a problem. I have a
Okay.
problem, Bishy.
All right. Here's where we're gonna go off on a little tangent because you like
Uh
lore, and you mentioned your dorm a couple of times.
mhm.
Can I tell you some interesting lore about me?
Yeah.
And this is actually sort of pertinent now because the college that I was at the time recently shut down.
Mhm.
Uh,
Oh.
but when I went there, it was the most expensive college in Alabama. It was a liberal arts college and also the Center for the United Methodist Conference.
Huh.
So,
That sounds contradictory, but okay.
yeah. So as it turns out, I'm a ghost there.
A ghost?
So there's an urban legend about me, specifically me, because
Mhm.
my name. I've mentioned that my name is very weird, so it sticks in a lot of people's heads.
Mhm.
And the legend goes that I killed my roommate and then killed myself, and that I haunted the halls of my dorm room. Now, what had actually happened? One, I was dealing with a nervous breakdown at the time, like a full fledged nervous breakdown, and I was
It's
walking
the
out on the quad,
nervous
wearing my
breakdown.
trench coat and uh, often bleeding from self harm and so on. So I was well known amongst the campus out there. My
Now,
roommate
Bishy.
had left, huh?
Bishy, why would you make yourself bleed more than you already are?
Well, this was before this. This
This
was
was
before
before.
this. This was before. This was back when I was all about the self harm. Um,
Mhm.
but my roommate had left because a couple of his friends had gotten like a little apartment and had invited him over. So, but according to everybody, because nobody talked to me in the dorms, because again, they were 100% convinced I was a Satan worshiper. Because why else would I talk about Dungeons and Dragons so much? Um, so he disappears as far as they're concerned. And then, because I'm having a nervous breakdown, I'm having such troubles. The faculty, the main can't remember what his title was. He asks me to leave. He says, "Look, you obviously you're dealing with something. It's very intense. We do not have the facilities here. We're going to have to ask you to leave." So as far as everybody else is concerned, though, because this happened, while they were, like nobody else was consulted. My roommate disappears. I'm acting freaky, and then I disappear with no explanation
Damn.
because they don't want to give an explanation because that would be giving them information about my mental health status, which they're not allowed to do.
Yeah.
So it became a full-on urban legend where I had killed my roommate, killed myself, and still haunted the halls. And about 3 years afterwards, when I was working at a movie theater in Hoover, the
Mhm.
Galleria 10, which, by the way, back in the day, most people don't know this, the Galleria 10, the most haunted movie theater in Birmingham.
Huh.
Um, yeah, we had like several ghosts, or supposedly, however you want to view that. So I'm hanging out. I'm playing an MMO. Some friends have brought over a couple of young women from Birmingham Southern. I just say named the college. Well, it doesn't matter. Again, the college is gone, so fine. They brought a couple of young women over, and
Mhm.
they started talking, and they were trading stories, and then they started telling this story about how their friend's dorm was haunted, and then there was like and then they mentioned the name because it was such a weird name,
Mhm.
and all of my friends who were there then turned and looked at me, and I was like,
He
shrugged
looked
my
at me,
shoulders and just went back to my
and
game.
I looked at him, and he looked at me.
Yeah, yeah. I have a very
A very
odd.
colorful backstory.
Yeah. I have so many stories to tell. I could tell you some fun stuff about April 27th, 2011, but we'll save that one.
Oh yeah, you did mention that earlier. I was waiting.
Yeah, that's the tornado story.
Also, I'm doing well, Cat Leon. Oh, I've survived. Well, survived as in like there was a tornado about a couple of meters away from the apartment complex that I used to live at, and then it turned around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's see, the brushes with death is like being stuck with my mom in a blizzard when we used to live in New York. Um,
Mm-hmm.
having bronchitis as a baby.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I
Uh,
had that one too. So yeah, we share that.
and then yay, twins. And then surviving Hurricane Katrina,
Mm-hmm.
and then that tornado incident, two car accidents, one where the car hit the opposite side, but I almost like my side almost slammed into a post
Mm-hmm.
because like we rotated a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Like not like flip rotate, but like turning around rotate because we got T-boned and they T-boned us from the back, so that's how we ended up turning.
It's like a
And
supernatural kind of crash.
mhm. And then I almost got shot. Like the bullet was like a foot away because it went through the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, pneumonia, where one of the tubes in my left lung collapsed. That's part of the reason why I'm a jellyfish, because you can't kill me in any way that matters.
If you're not familiar, I do suggest, and again, this will be a story for another time.
Mhm.
Um, that you look up. Just all you have to do is type into a Google search,
Mhm.
April 27th, 2011,
April 27, 2011.
and it should be the first hit.
I'm looking it up right now. Tornado outbreak. Super outbreak. 2011 super outbreak was the largest, costliest, and one of the deadliest tornado outbreaks ever recorded, taking place in the southern, midwestern, and northeastern United States from April 25th to 28th, 2000. I think that was around the time that there was a tornado that like turned away from my apartment complex. It was just
Mm-hmm.
like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it didn't turn away from
Oh
ours,
yeah, and it
from
did
our house.
happen, and it did happen in Arkansas. So
It straight up cracked open the house, and if it
damn.
wasn't for the mud bank behind the house, it would have thrown the house into the lake that we were beside. as it
That's
did with several other houses.
that's
Um,
crazy.
we lost. So we had a family home, and then there was another home that we were renting to another family member. Like, and renting is in parentheses, because like
Mhm.
it's family.
Mhm.
We lost that. We lost both houses, every single car that all of us had as collective, and the forest that was around us.
Damn.
The entire forest got knocked down. So, okay, all right, I'm going to go ahead and tell this story. Those of you who've already heard it, I'm sorry you're hearing this again.
Yeah, I'm
So,
sorry. I'm interested.
a couple of weeks before this happened, I am sitting on the porch
Wait, do we
and
have a
I
ladder?
look.
How the fuck are we supposed to get up here?
Yeah, there is a ladder. There's a ladder. I saw it. It's out here on this little thing. Yeah. No, that's. But I
Oh,
saw it. I saw it.
there it
Yeah,
is.
here it is. Yep. Anyway, posture check. Oh, and a
Oh
follow.
shit.
Thank you very
Let
much,
me sit
Annika.
up.
Uh, am I saying that right? I mean, Anka. If I'm saying that wrong, I apologize. I'm a terrible bun. Please feel free to. I was about to say spank me, but that has a different connotation. Punish me however you wish. Anyway, you like story time? All right, good.
Yay, story time.
So, uh, 2 weeks before this happened, I'm sitting on the porch and I look at a tree and I point to the tree and I announce to my family, my sisters are out there, and I say, that right there. And they're like, what? That's the tree that's going to get me. That tree's going to kill me. And I say stuff like that all the time. I'm a weirdo, that they're like, don't do that, because, they, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
manifesting.
flush, flash forward 2 weeks. I'm not actually at the house. My entire family is at the house. I am at my friend's house because we were playing a D&D thing. Um, he also, but where we were also got hit in Huntsville. It was like 2 weeks with no power
Mhm.
anywhere, and it was, they had curfews, they had police making sure there weren't looters and so on.
Mhm.
As it turns out, that tree, not only did that tree crash through my bedroom, that tree landed on my bed. If I had been home when that tornado hit, because I had tornado scares, I used to live in Tornado Valley,
Mhm.
uh, all the time. I never responded to them seriously. And if they had come out and said, "Yeah, there's a tornado, we're all getting in the hallway," I would have said, "You know what? I'm tired. I'm just gonna sleep. I'll see you guys." I would have fallen back asleep, and that tree would have fallen on top of me and
See,
crushed me like it crushed my bed.
see, let this be a lesson. I'm a, I'm
Yes,
a,
no,
I'm
no.
a, I'm gonna have something adjacent to that. So everybody knows who. Does anybody know who Glorilla is? Glorilla is a
Who?
rapper. Glorilla,
Oh, okay.
and like her
Yeah, yeah.
full name is Gloria Hallelujah. What's her last name? I keep forgetting her last name. I think it's like Hudson or something. And when she came out with TGIF, and one of her lyrics was, "It's 7 p.m. Friday. It's 98 degrees. It's 95 degrees. I ain't got no nigga. No nigga ain't got me." And then next thing you know, it was scorching hot for the next couple of days. Everybody told her to shut the hell up because every time she raps something about something going to happen, usually it's something positive, like I'm gonna get my bag. I'm gonna get like this specific thing. And she's like, a lot of her rap is very affirmative, and she's pretty much manifesting stuff, and she's a lot of good things have happened, and a lot of them, those good things were actually in her songs. So it was just like, don't ever do that shit ever again. Don't ever do that ever again. And today, um like, there was an announcement a couple of days back that she's coming out with a new album in October, and people are like, guys, what are we calling ourselves, like the stands? And I don't like the stand name, actually, because when I heard the alternatives, I'm like, why the fuck did y'all pick what we got now? Because apparently the stand name is Gloritas. Because, like, gorillas with the Z and I don't know where the hell they got the D from. And then, mind you, somebody called themselves a cigarillo, like a cigarillo.
Mm-hmm.
And then another person said the praise team, because her full name is Gloria Hallelujah. And I'm like, why didn't we pick that? Especially with the way that her album cover looks, because she teased it today. It's giving Yolanda Adams. It's giving Yolanda Adams. I'm like, I know what she's doing. I know what she's doing, but and I'm happy to see it. I like seeing gospel references because like that was like my foundation with both, like church was pretty much my foundation with music and public speaking and stuff, because you know
Mm-hmm.
with the Easter speeches and stuff, even though I didn't like doing Easter speeches because I'm like, there's 30 other kids doing a damn Easter speech. So I would sing something instead, or I would give like the welcome or whatever. And so that's why I'm so good at talking shit. And um but it's just like I really like stuff like Yolanda Adams, because like, okay, it's very frustrating being a black person who grew up with a foundation in gospel, because everybody and their mom keeps talking about Kurt Franklin, and I'm like, he is not the only one here. For the love of God, will niggas ever be free? I want to be free of Kurt Franklin. Like, he's iconic. He's made a lot of iconic pieces, but for the love of Christ, there are other people involved. Like, when the SpongeBob musical came out, I felt so vindicated because they didn't get Kurt Franklin. They got Yolanda Adams instead. Because have you heard of the SpongeBob musical?
I mean, I've heard of it. I've not heard it. No.
Okay, so you need to hear it. It's really good. Uh, the entire soundtrack is available to listen to on YouTube. Um, and this is the strain of autism that I got. Like specific tisms. It's like loritism. There's music-tism. That's usually the two tisms that I rotate between. The loritism. Although now I'm currently experiencing golden kamuitism. Remember that we're straying into different branches. Remember how earlier when I was talking about like questioning one's validity and identity because of not sharing similar experiences? I didn't experience like the gay panic until I got into Golden Kamui. And I'm like, huh, now I
Mm.
get it. But I've definitely been getting Kamuitism because like I'm literally learning about Ainu culture just so I can make a OC, because I want to at least be somewhat accurate and stuff with making this OC.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm on the Internet Archive reading the deep text so I could get the proper research and stuff for this. Like I'm dead into it. But back on the SpongeBob musical, pretty much the premise, and it was on Broadway, starring Ethan Slater. You know that guy that Ariana Grande is cheating with, and well, that he cheated with her. And I'm like, Ariana, when will you let go of being the other woman? There are better things to be.
Two to tango.
Two to tango. But the reason why I say that with Ariana specifically is because like this isn't the first time, and she also has like a lot of songs about it, and I'm like, this is a thing for her. With Ethan, it's like shameful because like, one, you're cheating, two, you're cheating and you just had a baby, and the woman that you were cheating with held your baby, and then like you look like SpongeBob both accurately, and I also mean it a little bit derogatorily. And this isn't to say that you can't be cheating when you look a certain way, because nobody is above it. I think about that one comedy skit. Have you ever heard of this one YouTube thing? I can't remember the name of the channel, but they would have this thing where you play a specific characters for a comedy bit, and it was just like you just found out that your next door neighbor participates in orgies,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like, you think that
I'm
this
not
is a
familiar with
hot.
it.
Okay, I'm gonna send it to you because it's funny as hell. It's like 11 minutes long, and it's just like, you think that an orgy is a bunch of tens, but it's actually eight fives and an eight who's never going to show up again. Yes, the ugly have sex. Like it was just,
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, come on.
yeah, because like nobody is exempt from any kind of affection.
Yeah.
It's just that I'm like, sir, you need to be working on your driver's license and taking care of Gary, not committing adultery. Like, why are we here? Why are we here? But the premise of the SpongeBob musical is that due to global warming, the volcanic ducts, like I guess oil rigging, I guess that specific form of global warming, the volcanic ducts of Bikini Bottom are like activating, so there's gonna be a volcano eruption. So SpongeBob, Sandy, and Patrick are trying to save the day, and then Plankton is trying to take advantage of the chaos in order to get the formula and take over. Squidward is trying to get himself into the limelight for like one time, and Mr. Krabs is trying to see how he can profit from it. And it's a multi-performer collaboration because they have multiple artists um, write a song. Because like
Mm-hmm.
they modified a David Bowie song, "No Control," which is the news report talking about the volcano. They had Ti make a song for Plankton to like hype the people up in order to take advantage of the situation. They had John Legend in there, and it was so nice because at first I didn't know it was him because at the time, like John Legend, he's mainly been making nothing but like music for white people weddings, and it's all good music. It's all good music, but like I need nigga music to come back, and that was when it happened when it was the song "Guess I Miss You," and like the here's where the music tism comes in because like the chord progressions of when Patrick and SpongeBob were harmonizing, I'm like, oh, this is a hymn. Somebody went to church. Who wrote this song? It was John Legend, and I'm like, we got nigga music back. I miss it because like I miss ordinary people. Like I love all of you, but
Welcome.
like please. I haven't been to a. Have I ever been to a white person's wedding? I had to dig into the archives of my brain for memories. I have not.
I have been to
I
four,
like how I
but
like how I'm saying white
they were
people
all
wedding, and then
related.
I'm listening to who am I listening to right now? I think it's Miley playing in the background. The irony, but I love you. I love you, pop music.
I mean,
But
just in weddings in general, I've been to four,
I've
and
been
one of them I
to.
was dressed up because it was a Halloween wedding.
Oh, that's awesome! I love unconventional weddings like that.
Though I kept quoting The Crow every time
Oh my god.
someone would come up. It's like, who the hell gets who the hell gets married on Halloween? Nobody. My sister's like, stop saying that.
That's so devious. But with the gospel, like okay, because John Legend, he's one of the musicians that have a who have a church foundation, and you can always tell, especially when it comes to certain songs. Have you ever have you already done the Shrek map? I do not have it. It hasn't come out yet, and I wasn't here for like the beta for it. It's not coming out until October. Cause I looked, I wanted to do the Shrek map, but we don't got it. What happened? But but you can hear due to like the note progressions, and then it's sad because I haven't taken AP music theory in a while. But
Mm-hmm.
like it just sounds like a hymn. It has the plagal cadence in there. Plagal cadence for those who don't know music theory. So like if you ever listen to hymnals or whatever, and then it also happens in a lot of anime music. Just look up an anime with a gothic theme because they take from hymns as well. Because that's like it's not goth without some kind of form of Catholic trauma.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like the amen at the thing because it's like a in a scale there are 7 notes, and the fourth note to the one or the one to the four, that's a plagal cadence. Like if you play a scale, play note 4 and play note 1, and there you go, that's a plagal cadence. And it's usually played at the end since that's supposed to be the closer, but sometimes it could be in the middle of the phrase and stuff, and just other things. But the other gospel person that was the actual gospel artist, not just somebody with a gospel foundation, was Yolanda Adams because she wrote a song for Patrick because it was called Super Sea Star Savior. What happened was that they had a little bit of a run-in with a cult of sardines that was looking for their god, and because Patrick showed up, they had to stop. They had to make a pit stop and stuff because it was just like, oh, he's here. And that was like one of my favorite songs because like it's like Zero to Hero with the gospel break in Hercules, where it's just like you feel so seen and heard as somebody with that foundation. Because you
Mm-hmm.
know that they went there. Because, like, the detailing of it, right? My family, I come from a pluralistic family, so I got, like, Baptists and Kojics. He was just like, they're both Christians, and he was just like, yeah, but they don't like each other. So it's a pluralistic
Yeah, well, I
family, but.
mean, like there's unless you know, because I had Methodist on one side, Baptist on the other.
Hmm.
You would think that they're the exact same thing, and they are
No.
not.
No. I say that Baptist is a little bit more liberal, at least when it comes to stuff like dress code and whatnot, and then Baptist puts a lot of emphasis on music a little bit more than Kojic. At least with my experiences with the churches that I've been through, with the differences with that. Um,
Right.
you're more likely to women are more likely to wear pants at a Baptist congregation than a Kojic one, but also, like, I also got Muslims and some folks who practice hoodoo in my family, so it's pretty much a pluralistic family. But Yolanda Adams, who's a major black gospel singer, she wrote the song, and the detailing of the performance, like they had the Patrick church fans with his face on them. They had the praise dance
And the church
outfits.
fan.
They had
Yes,
the
I
church
remember that.
fans. They had a break where he was playing the tambourine. Um, the praise dance outfits, with like the long skirts and the
Hmm.
form-fitting top and stuff. They had that. They had the banners out, and that's like, from what I know, that's like strictly Kojic. Like whenever they would always like bring out a flag or a banner or something during like a revival or during praise and worship. They did that, and then of course they had the break where he was playing the tambourine. I'm like, they went to service and probably like recorded some stuff and wrote down notes, because that's the only way, because it's very denominational specific with some of the things that was happening on that stage. I'm like, damn, it was
Did their
lit.
research.
It was one of my favorite. It was one of my favorites. I love the whole thing overall, because like the music is really good, and I love the costume design, because I love the costume design, like with how they translated it. For example, Sandy, she has an afro because her dome would interfere with the mic. So they
Hmm.
gave her a big afro with a flower on it. Gavin Lee, who played as Squidward, he actually had 4 legs. What they did was give him a special pair of pants with like prosthetic legs on the back, and they put tap dance shoes on it for the "I'm Not a Loser" number, so he could have that tap dance break. Let's see. For Mr. Crab's big meaty claws, he wears punching gloves, boxing gloves. Um, Plankton wears an eye patch. Karen, she wears futuristic clothes, and actually that's how I got introduced to Stephanie Sue, who's the actress who plays as Joy in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Hmm.
Cause she got started with like with theater. Cause she was actually in Be More Chill, but I never cared about Be More Chill. I only like one song. Be More Chill was like, this came out around the time that the Heathers revival and Dear Evan Hansen and stuff came out. I
Hmm.
never gave a fuck about Dear Evan Hansen. And then when I looked at it, I'm like, huh, I'm glad I didn't give a fuck about Dear Evan Hansen. Because what the fuck you mean? This is what's going on in the story. And this isn't played as a horror movie. Do you know what Dear Evan Hansen is about?
Uh, okay, so I've
So no
watched the.
spoilers.
What is her name? There's a YouTube essayist
Mm-hmm.
who did a whole thing, like a couple of hours on it. So yeah, I've
Mm-hmm.
seen that. She's the same one who did. She's a big Star Wars fan.
Is she
Uh,
Amanda the Jedi?
that might be it. She also did the one where she did that church that did all the movie based revival things where they had like Iron Man crucified and so on.
That sounds
And
so interesting.
oh, you gotta, if you haven't seen it, you have to. It is
But
amazing
I
because it is just full on these musicals mixed with modern references, but everyone's a Jesus and there's all kinds of stuff. Just
I'm just like, why the fuck would you? I would never compare Iron Man to Jesus because I already find his fans annoying. And now that's just gonna vindicate them even more. Tony Stark died for our sins. It's just like, get the fuck out of here.
I will say this. I will say this. I am a Marvel fan. I'm also a
I
DC
don't
fan.
mind. I don't mind Marvel.
Except for the fact that the last DC stuff has not been to my liking,
Hmm.
because I am Batman the Animated Series, Justice League. Like that's my era of DC.
Same.
That's where I'm like, this is
I'm
me. Yeah.
I'm of the firm belief that they should give up on live action and they should just give the animated movies more budget and release them because they have a better audience reception than the live action ones. Like Christopher Reeve's Batman with Robert Pattinson is literally carrying right now, and I love that one
Hmm.
because like I do shit on Reeves for saying, "Oh, we're trying to do a more realistic take," because I'm like, we already did that with The Dark Knight, and I didn't even like The Dark Knight. I'm glad that I can't take fall damage because holy shit, I got so scared. I was like, "Oh no!" But what was I saying again?
Oh,
It
Christopher Reeve.
was Christopher Reeves. Like that specific Batman was made for people who like the video games because it had some of
Oh,
the game
like yeah.
mechanics in there. Because it had the detective vision, it had the glider. I'm like, let's go.
I would love to see. I know it will never happen, but I would love to see either a because they had the comic for a while. They did a redo of the comic,
Hmm.
the 1960s Batman, which was all
Oh yeah, with
Adam.
Adam West and
Yeah,
stuff. We need
or
that. Because
or
honestly, Batman the Brave and the Bold was
Braven.
based off
That
of
was
the.
what I was gonna say.
It was
Yes,
lit.
yes, I love that series.
To this day, my favorite episode is the mayhem, not the mayhem of the Music Meister, even though that one is also peak. But the Mask of Matches Malone with the Birds of Prey song. Batman the Brave and the Bold made me like Aquaman because I never liked Aquaman because he would always piss me off. He was just like, this is a problem for the surface world. And I'm like, this is an alien invasion. They think that all Earthlings are the same. Do you honestly think that they would make any kind of distinction? Your people call you the half breed king behind your back. Humble yourself. Like, I hated it. It was like, with the quickness. I would
I
I would not
Someone is
be.
mentioning
Huh?
Christopher Reeves. Christopher Reeves as the OG Superman.
No, that's Christopher. Crap! I said Christopher. Dang it!
Yeah,
What's the
yeah, yeah.
name of
Christopher
the?
Nolan. Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan was the one who did The Dark Knight. Who did this recent one?
Oh, I
Who
don't
did
know. That see
the
that
Batman?
that's why I
See,
didn't say anything because I did not know who did the recent one because I've not seen the recent.
Matt Reeves.
Matt Reeves. There we go. No, no, you because you said you kept saying Christopher Reeves and I was like thinking that's Superman. But
That's
then I
who
was also
you should
thinking,
have said.
but
I
I was
don't
also
mind.
thinking I haven't seen that movie, so maybe they're both named Christopher Reeves, and that's neat. Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's
Pretty much,
cool.
if you wanted to see Batman go back to his roots as a noir detective, and if you like the Arkham video games, you'll like the Matt Reeves Batman.
Mm.
And I like both of that, but I do shit on the idea we're gonna make Batman realistic because first of all, it is okay to have camp with Batman. This is a grown ass man dressing up as an animal, as a furry, to deal with his trauma. That is okay. It is okay to
Yeah,
lean into it, and not to mention the long Halloween is literally immaculate if done right. Unfortunately, it wasn't done right with the animation adaptation. I'm like, the style, the art style, literally is the basis of it. It's supposed to be weird because it's supposed to show that transition from Batman being a noir detective to needing to become a superhero because of how the threats have gotten out of hand.
yeah, yeah.
So like when you take away the fantastical elements of like the designs and stuff, you're visually taken away from that theme. Like what the hell are you doing? Like I know it would and that's the thing. This is why I say that the animated movie should just be given more budget and released in theaters because like you can't do a straight to DVD movie
Batman:
with the
Mask of the
long
Phantasm,
Halloween. That
greatest
style,
Batman movie made.
that style
So
needs across the Spider Verse type budget to do. I feel.
yeah, but like I was saying, Batman: Mask of the Phantasm is my favorite Batman movie ever made.
Mhm. Because it's so emotionally charged,
Oh
and it's
yeah,
also
yeah.
like a callback with certain things, especially I also love the Batman the Brave and the Bold version of it, especially with how they had Adam West voice his dad.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a nice nod. And then I think they had Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill in there as well. So it was just like a nice nod. But no, we need Camp back. We peaked at Batman and Robin. I miss Uma Thurman and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I think one of my favorite things was in the Brave and the Bold, where they did a whole like at a convention kind of thing,
Mhm.
and they were talking about Batman as a concept, and people were complaining about this or about that, and then Batmite basically stood up and said, "What's interesting about Batman is that it can handle so many different takes, and no take is necessarily better than the other, and being open to that is what allows you to explore this genre in different ways." You know.
Mhm. I understand what he was saying, and he's definitely making a neutral statement and stuff because, like, okay, I don't think that every take is equal because I hate Bruce
Oh, but
Timm. I
yeah.
could beat his ass. Anybody who
Oh, you
ships,
hate Bruce Timm?
yeah, because of what happened with he's the one who pioneered the Bruce and Barbara thing, and I've never known peace ever since. Like,
Oh, okay.
get
Well,
the
yeah.
fuck out of
I
here with that. Like, I love Batman Beyond and stuff, but I have to jump him because of the Bruce and Barbara thing. Like that thing has been a plague to the mythos, and all it does is like one, it just makes Batman seem very predatory because he is her mentor and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
stuff. On top of like it always reduces Barbara as a character. She always ends up being a prop for him whenever she gets hurt in some way or form. And she always gets hurt either by him or she gets hurt by somebody else in order to get to him. And he was just like, well, that happens with the other love interest. And I'm like, the other love interests can fight back. Talia and Selena, they're fine. They're fine. But Barbara never is.
I I think I okay. So this goes back to the Killing Joke, and I think
Yup.
Alan Moore was trying to say something interesting, and then he inadvertently stumbled into reinforcing something that he wasn't trying to reinforce. Because the concept of it, I mean, as you're reading it, like Batman doesn't go to beat up the Joker, and Commissioner Gordon doesn't want him to beat up the Joker because they hurt Barbara. You know, this isn't
Mhm.
a revenge kind of thing.
Mhm.
So you can see that he was trying to sort of play off of that, and that these are all normal people, and so on. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's still, because of how it was presented, because of what ends up happening, it's still basically frigid.
Yeah.
So
And also Alan Moore, he's also had a history of fridging to an extent when it came to like other characters in Watchmen and stuff. And he's talked about how he's grown from
yeah,
that and
he's
how he
apologized.
expressed it, and
Yeah,
he's expressed some regrets and stuff with
yeah.
that. It's so sad because like, and it's kind of why I have such like a love hate relationship with the Killing Joke
Mm-hmm.
because it is a nice thing because like okay, I hate it partially because of like the general consensus concerning it because I feel like a lot of people read it wrong, specifically
Yeah,
when it comes to the Joker, because it's just like, yeah, Joker said all it takes is one bad day and da 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 da, and it's just like the whole point of the Killing Joke is to prove him wrong, that it
yeah, yeah,
takes more than a bad day. Like Gordon is simply a decent person and he also has things to live for, so it's not gonna just take one bad day to mess him up because he has options, and we
yeah,
don't necessarily know what Joker has, especially since people keep pulling the unreliable narrator thing.
yeah.
We don't
Well,
know what he
also,
has.
like if you look at it from the Joker's perspective, and one of the things I like about the Killing because it does really set a good difference in the relationship between Batman and Joker, and what Batman is and what Joker is. Because they
Mhm.
both, neither one of them went to a therapist. You know, neither one of them went to address this horrible trauma that they went through in the proper fashion. Both
Mhm.
of them self medicated, and And to be honest, they both self-medicated, just like the joke says at the end. They somewhat self-medicated out of fear. And Batman in the Killing Joke is basically saying, let's try and
Excuse
fix
me.
this.
Mhm.
Let's try and do better. You and me together, let's try and do that. And then that's what the joke that the Joker says at the end is all about.
Mhm.
It's like, I can see that you want to get out of this asylum that we're in, and you got a foot out the door and you're almost there, you know, and now
Mhm.
you're tossing me a lifeline, but one, the lifeline isn't going to work because the Joker is too afraid to release his defense mechanism,
Mhm.
and two, the reason why I'm afraid is silly. The whole you'll turn off the flashlight before I'm halfway there, because ultimately he doesn't trust Batman or anyone else. He doesn't trust anyone.
Mhm.
He is 100%. That is where his narcissism really comes from, and
Yeah.
the fact that he cannot possibly rely or trust anyone, and that's where a lot of his violence comes from.
Mhm. It's
Um,
fighting trauma with. It's fighting trauma with. Well, one is embracing the trauma as something that's like a fact of life, whereas one is like actually at least trying to
yeah,
fix things, although unconventionally.
yeah. So I love the Killing Joke, and at the same time I understand where it's where certain things have gone awry,
Mhm.
and where certain things were not done properly, correctly.
Because I also
Because
think of. Because I also think of Barbara again, even without the fridging
yeah,
and stuff. Because like it's a difficult conversation to have about Barbara because people are like, oh, so you think that you should get rid of the wheelchair rep, and it's just like, no, I just hate how it happened
yeah.
because like her disability is tied to something that really does a disservice to her character. It's not that she can't be disabled, but having that thing like her
I,
disability shouldn't be associated with the Killing Joke. It should be associated with Birds of Prey because it took the writer doing Birds of Prey to like fix and develop her further beyond that incident. But
yeah.
unfortunately, because the Killing Joke is more iconic than Birds of Prey, it's going to be the credit is mainly going to be given to the Killing Joke because it's the inciting incident.
Well, and let's not put too fine a point on it. There's no way Batgirl gets taken down by a couple of thugs like that. Like, that should have been a fight.
That should have
And
been a fight.
I think part of the problem, and again, I think this is one of those things that Alan Moore has kind of regretted, is the fact that he didn't really consider Barbara Gordon as Batgirl. He considered Barbara Gordon as Barbara Gordon.
Gordon's daughters.
Yes, as Gordon's daughter. And that was her role in the story, so she couldn't have the role of being Batgirl, which is where it largely goes awry in her interpretation.
Mhm.
So, and I think well, another issue about it is ultimately the Killing Joke wasn't meant to be like in the comic continuum. People just put it in there because it was so
So
infamous and famous, and
iconic.
people were so into it. Yeah, so they wanted to make that thing, but it wasn't written as that kind of story. It was written in its own sort of way, kind of like the Nolan Batman things, you
Yeah,
know,
and I kind of
because
hate how well like The Dark Knight, it has some really good scenes. It's just that I didn't
mm-hmm,
like it overall because like I don't know. I think that Batman is best when they do lean into the camp because I don't like it whenever people look down on the camp because it's a campy premise. Just lean into it. You could still have compelling storytelling and stuff even if you have some ridiculous elements of it because like let's be for real, life does not feel realistic all the time.
yeah,
Remember that whole clown issue that we did have?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that.
The fact
I remember that.
that we got a shitty person memed into a presidency, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah, that
okay.
too.
It's okay.
Yeah, there's a lot going on that does not seem real.
Camp is
And
okay.
I think
But
my issue with the Dark Knight, because I do like a lot of it, especially Heath Ledger's portrayal, is
mhm.
that was something I was not expecting. I mean, that is a take on the Joker that I had not considered. But I think my main issue with it is most Batman stories are told as though Batman is the reality and Bruce Wayne is the mask.
Yeah,
And
I
this was
hate that.
told as well, this was told the other way. This was told as though Bruce Wayne is the reality and Batman is the mask, because it's about Bruce Wayne. I mean, ultimately, the trilogy is about him giving it up,
Mhm.
moving past it. And in the comics, Batman can't move past it because of various reasons. One of which, of course, is money. But because in the comics it'd be done.
Yeah.
Wash you, Lavi. Oh, well, you come out here, we'll wash. You know what? Actually, this Sunday, so in a couple of days, the Breakfast Crew is going to be doing Stardew Valley again, and we will absolutely go and we will wash our lobby. And if you want, we will milk her too.
Mhm. I think
Lavi's
that.
a cow YouTuber.
Oh, cool. Just make sure your hands are warm.
Always.
She'll kick.
I don't know.
But
I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but yes, always make sure your hands are warm, and always make sure that your nails are trimmed.
mhm.
If you don't know that, then
Ooh, I will never
be careful.
forgive that one. Have you seen that one VTuber hand trend where folks were like posting their hands after coitus activities? And then I was just seeing too many with claws on. I'm like, I know you not. I know you not doing that without any preparation. Like I saw it happen like 3 times in a row because like apparently that artist that was doing it was getting a lot of clients at the time, and I'm just like, no, go to the bathroom, get some clippers, and start again. We're not doing
This
this.
is
I
this is a sensitive
refuse.
area. This is a sensitive area. Yep,
But
yep, yep.
I was thinking, I also think that part of the reason why in the comics Batman quote unquote can't let it go is I think it's like meta issues, because
Yeah,
I think about Across the Spider Verse and how it's commentary on two things, at least according to Chris Anka, who's like the lead character designer, and according to other staff. And then I got it anyways. Cause it's just like, a lot of this seems racially motivated. Like both of it is commentary on like some of the backlash of having a black Spider-Man, but also
yeah,
like it's also meta commentary on how people think that Spider-Man can't be Spider-Man without misery.
yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. That is the thing that bugs the crap out of me.
Cause like that
Um,
stuff when Batman and Catwoman were gonna get married, that one run where Joel Jones designed her wedding dress and then they canceled it because it's just like, well, do I need to be happy? And I'm like, yes, dumbass. Like, I hate that premise. Batman works alone. He has too many people in the Bat family to quote unquote say that he
yeah, I
works
was going
alone.
to
How
say,
many fucking
yeah,
kids does he have? Let alone the other grown people involved, like his cousin and Fox and Alfred and everybody else. Like, what the actual hell? Batman the Brave and the Bold is literally him doing team ups on a regular basis. Like, be
yeah,
serious. And
yeah.
also,
No,
if he's happy, then that creates other obstacles because he actually has something to lose, guys.
yeah. The one day or whatever, the Spider-Man thing where he basically they decided to reboot everything about Spider-Man, and they did it in the worst way possible. That absolutely just like, come on, he can have a life, he can progress, he can grow,
Mhm.
you know. And if he can't, then you need to change the way that you're making these comics. You can no
Mm.
longer just go a sequential comic that goes on and on and on. What you need to do is just trade paperbacks, and this is one story. This is one Batman or Spider-Man story, and this is
Mhm.
another.
Yeah.
You got to make a choice.
We need to bring back this joint, especially when we have something like a multiverse. So it should be fine to do like one shots and separated stuff instead of trying to make everything one long continuous thing. Especially when you're
Mm-hmm.
switching authors, because they're not always going to be on the same page, and they don't have to be. Just do a separate run, or we just need to like decrease the frequency of runs when it comes to Cape Comics. Like the Hayes Code has really beat the comic industry's ass, because like it was the Comics Code, which was when the
Mm-hmm.
self censorship happened, because they were like, we're gonna censor ourselves before we let the government do it.
Yeah.
But like that beat the comic industry in the ass, because now the U.S. is like, well, there are other types of comics existing, yeah, but are they given nearly as much funding and attention and resources? No, because because of how Marvel and DC and Image Comics have sort of dominated things. And And one person, I remember one person saying something along the lines that America really has no folklore because of like the the near eradication of Native Americans and stuff, and how everybody else who comes here has existing origins elsewhere. So like comic books are sort of like American mythology.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that, but part of that is kind of an issue in the sense that like mythology can change in response to social issues,
Changing
but like the
values. Yeah.
frequency of changes, it feels like something that doesn't quite fit those rules. I don't know what to
Mm.
quite call it. Because at least with stuff like Greek mythology and whatnot, there's like decades of a phase, how it feels. Like, you know how Hades was just like, oh, this man is scary and we don't want to piss him off because we're going to have to meet him again someday. And then, with the rise of Christianity, this dude is Satan, but Greek. And then now he's like a ooh soft emo boy.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like
And then
when
now,
looking at the Greek gods, he's like he's not good, but he's not Zeus. You know,
yeah,
he's
but I
not.
feel like that's not saying much of anything. You want to know why I think
Well,
that
yeah. Well,
Hades is quote
I
unquote the best of the three brothers? I have a theory, right? You want to know how to make a Greek god decent? Give them a job. Because, like, Hades has had
that's
some moments
yeah.
where he was a bastard, and it really makes you think that because he is too busy being occupied by his duties, that's why he's not on the same level. Because, like, Zeus and Poseidon, they're like neck and neck, with Zeus being the worst, but Poseidon is like across the street.
Well,
Whereas
I will.
Hades is down the street and he's got a 9 to 5, so he's too busy to actually do some fuck shit.
Okay, I will say one thing though, because we have
Hmm.
talked about Disney and
Hmm.
we did talk about Hercules.
Yeah, I do love James Gunn's. Was it James Gunn? No,
No,
J-
it's um, God, I can't
pattern
remember his
recognition.
name.
I think it's a James something, or it's a
Yeah,
something
James
gun.
Woods. James
James
Woods.
Woods.
James Woods. Now,
See,
first and
I
foremost,
love the greasy car
you know,
salesman take. It's
spoiler alert:
immaculate.
if you don't know, James Woods is actually a terrible person in real life.
Oh,
Um, yeah, bad, like bad, bad. Um, but I could not help watching the Hercules movie and thinking, wait a minute, you made a deal, and being a god doesn't change that deal.
so that sense of
Hades,
entitlement. You're
yeah,
taking
it's like
advantage of
Hades
his
won.
position.
Hades won though. It's like you owe him this. It's not a
Yeah, but it's
sacrifice if you like get out of it because you made the sacrifice. There's
well,
a part of me that's like, come on.
well, no, it is a sacrifice because if he sacrificed, it's still a
He did
sacrifice,
sac-
even though he did sacrifice. He just got it back.
But see, that's just it. What I would have liked
Like
is
Hades only
because
has
of
to
that.
have the soul. He doesn't have to keep it.
So my thought was, what would have made that better is
Hmm.
if attaining that godhood status meant that he had to basically leave the mortal realm and go up to Olympus. Like he could no longer be there because the only way to make that, and then that would be a sacrifice, and that would be the heroic sacrifice.
Or I think that he could go back, but he would lose his godly strength. Like he could still be a built dude, but he would just go back to farming. He could retire.
Mm.
And that does create an interesting thing because it's just like, what if another monster shows up? So whether or not he'll show up to help, regardless if he has his powers. Because it already brought that question up earlier, but like he was like weakened. But it's just like, can he just be a regular capable dude that just got to be more careful? Versus like,
I mean, you got Odysseus, you got Ajax,
mm-hmm,
there are tons of heroes who didn't have any power.
mm-hmm,
So um, now they were from different, sort of like a different time period. Because Hercules is a
I think he
transitionary standpoint.
mm-hmm,
You get so like you got the Titans who are everything, and then you have the gods who are slightly closer to human, but they have no morals, and then you have the humans who are supposed to have morals and get conflicted and so on, and each step down you lose power, but you gain agency as you
mm-hmm.
go down. And
Mhm.
Hercules is sort of like in that transitionary state where he's part godlike, but also he has some agency. Um,
At
but
least in
compared to
the
like
Disney movie, because then the he's just fun.
yeah,
I think
but
about
then you get
Hades too,
yeah,
and
but
I'm not gonna spoil it, but like he is there and he's very bitter. I like takes on the gods being bitter. Like this is why I like the game Hades, because I feel like that's the best take of Hades. It's not painting him as like some ooh, but I hate Lord Olympus. It's not the first one to do it, but it's the most infamous. I hate Lord Olympus because it's just like this is a grown ass man, a grown assed man with an ed at the end. Stop babying him, but he's definitely not Satan. I just see him as somebody who's bitter, and that's sort of why I was talking about like give a god a job so they don't do some stuff because it limits their freedom in order to mess with other people. And I feel like
Hades.
with him being the eldest brother and yet getting the worst job of the three and sort of being kept out of the limelight and stuff despite being like the eldest brother and sort of losing his birthright and constantly having it held over his head that his youngest brother had to save his and the other siblings' ass and stuff. I feel like that would breed some bitterness.
I will say this about Hades in the video game, and this is not related to anything that was just said. So just so you know, this is a tangent.
Okay.
The first time I beat Hades, the game,
Mhm.
was quite a well. First of all, I really related to Hades a little bit, probably more than I should, because Hades looked a lot like my father,
Mhm.
like a lot, a lot. Um, we used to joke that my dad was basically Bluto from the Popeye cartoon. Yeah, going
Mhm.
back to the mentioning the Popeye movie with Robin Williams, the song "I mean, I mean, I mean," you know what I mean, is
Mhm.
so my father. It was
Mhm.
like, oh my god, it's his theme song. But I'm going to tell you how I beat Hades the first time.
Mhm.
So, I beat my father in that game by getting him drunk, seducing him, and then fisting him to death.
Mhm.
And that is a sentence that can only be said about the Hades video game.
Yeah.
No other computer game has ever set up a situation where me having said that is one true
Wait, so
and
you
not
gave him
necessarily the worst thing ever.
Wait, so you literally used the fist weapons and before
I
that you
used the
like
fist
gave him
weapon.
ambrosia and stuff.
Well, no, I gave him. I had the Dionysus make
Oh,
people
yeah.
drunk, and
Mhm.
I had Aphrodite's seduce, and their power combined plus the fist weapons is what took Daddy down finally. Because
Uh
that was a while of me beating on that game.
yeah.
Have you played the new one?
Nuh-uh. I've seen
Oh,
I've
really
seen some
good.
stuff. Like I'm so cool about Polyphemus. I really love his design. Like I was thinking of like it was one day
One day
where
at
I
a
was just
time.
where I was just existing, and then I was just like, what if Hades and Overwatch did a collab? And I'm like literally Malga and Polyphemus because like the placement, like they have the exact same build and the placement, and the way that people like fall for the way that they talk with the whole sweetheart thing. Like I sent Trunks a picture of Polyphemus because like he got into we were watching a Goofy movie at that time and he was really into we saw the sequel of the Goofy movie where Max went to
Mhm.
college and Tank that big dude from the fraternity and stuff and like Trunks was really into Tank because of like the way that he would talk and say sweetheart and shit and like I don't know if Polyphemus would say that. He hasn't been nice to anybody to say that. Also, his house is dirty. But like I heard him speak, and I'm like, oh, that's Tank in another world. Here you go, Trunks. And he had a field day. But I just really like Polyphemus because he's just like, I'm just here to eat and not be bothered. Or how
You know what?
when Melanoe
I
would
totally
talk
get that.
about his hypocrisy, and he was just like, yeah, and what about it? I don't like you. I don't give a fuck. Like, but I really love Hercules because of like, I like the bitterness. I like the bitterness.
I got you. Unfortunately, the most bitter Hercules is also the worst.
Who's the most bitter Hercules?
Kevin Sorbo.
I've never seen that.
So when I was young, the Hercules series and Xena was like a thing you watched,
Oh yeah.
and Hercules seemed like a cool guy, and of course Xena, the actress who played Xena, Lucy Lawless, is amazing, and
Yeah.
everything is great. And now Kevin Sorba is the most horrifying MAGA conservative evil person in the world, and it's like, why did you do this to yourself? You know, it's so close to the whole "you were the chosen one." It's just why.
He's a really good actor. Now, how when people are like, "How can you play something so?" Like when I found out that Obi-Wan, like Ewan McGregor, was a Zionist, and somebody's just like, "How do you play?" And I'm like, you know, his job is being an actor, right? How often do you believe in the ideals of the characters that you're playing? It does make it easier to play them. It makes it easier. I feel like empathy, like I did. It's when I talk about stuff like identity conscious casting, even though ideology isn't necessarily identity, because your ideas can change, right? But but it's just like sharing those experiences and stuff can help you channel certain things, but at the same time, at the end of the day, it's still acting. I don't expect certain stuff, especially when I definitely don't expect it from Star Wars, given that Star Wars. I've talked about this before. I don't know if I've talked about it on stream, but like whenever people talk about how the behavior of the fans is contradictory to the themes of Star Wars, and I'm like, oh, you don't know. You don't know. It's like it kind of pisses me off whenever people think that the racism of like Star Wars fans is a bug instead of a feature, because it's just like no, when you actually look at Star Wars and like the cultural inspirations that they use and how that's applied, it makes sense that certain types of people feel welcome. Because this isn't to
I
say
will
that
say,
like creators control the decisions of their fans, but I do think that if you don't show respect towards minorities with your cultural inspirations, then how are you going to expect other people to be respectful when they show up? Like you set the tone.
hmm, I will say just to everyone that I am still a Star Wars fan, but actually, I don't know if I really consider myself a fan of anything because I think being a full on fan requires a certain amount of lack of self reflection on the stuff. And I think you should always be open to think about the themes and whether or not, things are living up to them and so on. I think you need to be capable of doing that.
I think
Now,
that's the
granted,
opposite.
My favorite Star Wars is Knights of the Old Republic
Mhm.
because I love the first game.
Mhm. And I
Um,
really love the trailers, honestly. Like the old
yeah,
Republic trailers and stuff. It was really cool. But I think for me it's the opposite. I think that if you love something, then you should be critical
that's what I'm
because
saying.
you want to see it do well and stuff. To me, being a fan should be about having um, a level of awareness.
Well, yeah. Well, what I'm talking about is like the fans that we have
Mhm.
tend to be very uncritical, and they should be critical to actually be real. So, in other words, I think we're both coming at it. We're both arriving at the same conclusion, but we're coming at it from opposite ends,
Mhm.
um,
And then I also
basically.
say that I also want to say that there's like a difference between being a fan and doing fandom because like I feel like a lot of people who are fans of things, they don't participate in fandom. Like they like the thing, but they don't
Yeah,
necessarily participate in communities that revolve around liking that thing.
I will tell you this: I will not like. I do not engage in anybody like the conversation about the sequels and all of that.
Mhm.
I just like it's not something that I want to just sit there and talk about. And um, there's a lot of negativity there that I don't want to be a part of
Yeah.
when it comes to that. Just and ultimately, one of the best movies that came out about Star Wars recently was Rogue One.
Yeah.
You know,
Rogue One is really cool. Rogue One is
but
really cool.
I would like to see them do some. Honestly, if they're going to continue on, I would like to see them do some, some stuff in the Old Republic.
Mhm.
Let's. Let's examine this whole structure from a different. And I would love to see somebody play Jolie Bendo because
Mhm.
he was my favorite character in Qatar. Because I loved his stories. I loved. So okay, in the second Qatar, you get Korea, and yes, she is a bad guy, but a lot of the stuff that she's doing is kind of what Jolie Bendo was doing, which was
Mhm.
getting you to examine the heroic mythos more than anything. And I've always thought that Jolie Bendo did a much better job of you know like the story about destiny is so great. It's like I met this one Jedi who had like just the greatest destiny that I've ever seen, and he knew it, and he was all just waiting for it. And then what ends up happening is he rushes after this pirate leader in space. The pirate leader grabs him and throws him, and he happens to fall into the the um the exhaust port or something and causes the ship to blow up. So because of that, he stopped one of the world's worst terrors, but that was his destiny. You know, it
Mhm.
was not to be covered in glory; it was to be a punchline. And it's something to keep in mind when thinking about things like destiny and so on,
Mhm.
which I always thought was really cool. And he was always questioning in a way that was interesting and gave you things to think about. Where I think Korea kept telling you things and not giving you a chance to respond. You
Shit.
know,
I fell off the fountain.
and a
Sorry.
lot of what she was saying was very, why help people kind of stuff, because if you help them, they're just going to do this, and it's like, I have answers. If you want to have that conversation, we can have this conversation, but you're not letting me have this conversation. You're
Mhm.
letting me just sort of like stand here and listening to this old lady's blog that I don't want to be a part of her podcast. I just don't. I
Yeah.
find I find her annoying.
Yeah. When it comes to talking about the sequels, it's more that I feel like there's nothing to talk about, or at least I'm sometimes hatred of things, like when something is very much hated, it's very frustrating, especially when it's like culture wars involved. Because I could
Mm-hmm.
dislike the same thing, but for very different reasons. But I can't say anything about hating it
Because you'll
because,
be lumped in with the other. Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah.
yeah, especially with as a minority and talking about stuff like representation, and I'm really not satisfied with the state of representation when it comes to certain things, because like I feel like there's a lot to be said about how corporations are profiting from minorities' likeness in their works, but when it comes to workplace conditions or even writing, it's very much lip service. But then
Mm.
it's hard to have this conversation because people are like, so you think that representation doesn't matter, or well, what do we have? And it's like there have been times where I've been close to cursing people out because like it's just like, okay, first of all, I follow too many people in the industry and I've went to school for this shit. And it's very frustrating being the only person who knows about this thing. I don't find it empowering to be the only one with knowledge on something, actually. You know how some people are just like, oh, it's empowering to be the only one who knows. Whenever it's something negative and you're the only one who knows, it's very frustrating because you gotta like Pepe Sylvia explanation, or at least it feels like I look like that scene. You know, the Pepe Sylvia meme. It feels like I look like that whenever I'm explaining stuff, especially when it's like pattern recognition and seeing how frequently these problems happen. Like every time I
Mm-hmm.
see, say, a character that used to be a white woman gets turned into a black woman and seeing these specific patterns, and I've been seeing these patterns since Kat Graham played as Bonnie Bennett in Vampire Diaries. And you know how old Vampire Diaries, the TV show, is? How old is Vampire Diaries? Shit.
I have no
It's not
idea.
it's not Pretty Little Liars old, but it's old. It's old teen TV, Vampire Diaries. Cuz it was an adaptation of a book. Since 2009. And seeing these patterns back to back whenever they do like what stuff, cuz remember how I was talking about how colorblind cast, there's no such thing as colorblind casting because like the world is not colorblind. and how I talked about that with Hermione. I'll give an example with horror movies. Have you seen Night of the
Yes,
Living
yes, I think
Dead?
they're very different. Yes, very
Have you
different.
have you seen Night of the Living Dead? So
One
Night of the
second.
Living Dead is sort of dubbed. It's not the original zombie movie, but it was like pioneered modern zombies, even though the director did not intend that. Cause like
Yes,
he was
yes,
trying
yes, yes. I know
he
what you're
was
talking about. Yeah.
yeah, cause he was trying to make a new monster, but because of like the behavioral similarities to like existing Hollywood depictions of like the Haitian zombie and stuff,
Hmm.
it just ended up being labeled as that, even though he wanted something new. But it
Yeah.
was very controversial because it came out during the civil rights movement,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
No, I yeah.
the protagonist Ben was actually colorblind casted, even though in the script he was originally white, and it got taken as racial commentary because when you look at the dynamics, he's the only black person in the group. There's one person who does not want to listen to him with helping the survival of the group because he's just like, I won't take my kind of orders from somebody like you. And at the end of the movie, when he's being rescued because he's the last man standing and he's like covered in blood and guts and stuff, he was like waving a flag to signal that he's still alive, but then he got shot, and the people
Yeah.
that he got shot by were the volunteers and the police, and it kind of looks akin to a lynch mob because it was like white dudes with guns and dogs and stuff. So even though the script was technically neutral, something as simple as casting somebody, especially at the time that it releases, it gives a completely different feel to it. And I'm
Yeah.
just thinking
No, no, I get
about
that.
like Wicked, with how they got Cynthia. What's her last name? I can't remember her last name. With how she's playing as Elphaba, and there has been a conversation about the implications of having a dark skinned woman play as Elphaba, because you know Elphaba is ostracized due to her being colored green, and we don't see any other black people in the main cast. So like she's the
Yeah, yeah.
only dark skinned woman there, and it's like it feels like they're talking about colorism, but they're too scared to do it, so they're just relying on messy metaphors. And it's
Hmm.
weird because like when you look at different Broadway ones, there has been black Glendas, but there have been other black people in the cast, or well, black Elphabas, but there have been other black people in the cast. You actually see more black Glendas, and sometimes that was like used as a subtle thing about assimilation and stuff, and somebody who isn't willing to let go of the position that they've worked so hard to get, which is why with Defying Gravity, with Glinda telling Elphaba to say that she's sorry because she's worked so hard. And that's like a subtle thing with talking about the things that people do to water themselves down in order to get a position. And it creates interesting stories, but like in the case of the movie, it's just like, sounds like you want to talk about something, but you're too scared to do it, so you're using symbolism. And I feel like I'm half and half. I'm just thinking about Marvel again, cause like I like Marvel, but I kind of have X-Men fatigue in the sense that I don't like talking to people about X-Men because of conversations about using symbolism to talk about certain problems, because I feel like sometimes it's very messy.
Well, the problem specifically with X Men and using it as because I get the intention and all that, and there is there's definitely things to be said about how it represents various things from LGBTQ and racial issues. The
Hmm.
thing is that we that
I
you
think it
can't
sucks
really
as a racial
avoid.
thing. I think the best
Well, yeah,
interpretation of X-Men is stuff like disability and
yeah,
whatnot.
but the thing is that you have to acknowledge the fact that they are weaponized. They are dangerous. They are, this is not something that you can just ignore. You can't just sweep that under the table. It has to be part of the cultural conversation.
Hmm.
So in a lot of ways, a lot of in a weird way, they sort of represent like the stereotype, because the stereotype of like different minorities and different people is that they are scary, that they can do terrible things to you,
Mm.
which they can,
On top of the
but
fact
the X
that
Men can, you know.
yeah, and on top of the fact that part of the issue is that like the X-Men, they're called the X-Men because they are exceptional. They are the exceptions to the rule, and it kind of makes the argument about like mutants being oppressed kind of stupid because like okay, people talk about, oh well, there are people, not everybody who's a mutant has cool powers and stuff. Some of them, it gives them a hard time, besides like say Rude, Rogue, and with her issues with intimacy, and Nightcrawler and Beast with their physical appearance. There are some people who like their ability just pretty much functions as like a chronic illness, and it's terrible to have. But the problem is that the story barely focuses on those everyday people. When you have your main cast
Mm.
exceptional folks who have little to no difficulties with their powers itself, the only issue is that they are powerful,
Yeah.
then it's just like, why do you care? And then when placed next to characters who go through IRL discrimination. Like one time there was a scene where X-29 was arguing with Kamala Khan, and X-29 had the nerve to tell Kamala Khan how she doesn't know what it feels, and it's just like, this is a Muslim girl living in post 9/11 America. I'm gonna need you to be so for real. And I know with X-29, with being a clone of Logan and stuff, so like that lack of agency and da 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 da. But it's just like, I don't care. Every time there's an X-Men that goes against a character who goes through IRL marginalization, I'm never gonna side with the X-Men, except for maybe Magneto, because he's going through both simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, that's like half and half, because like Magneto has always bothered me as a character, because like originally he was supposed to be a Doctor Doom clone, where he was like, X-Men are the next stage of human evolution and therefore we should be superior. And then they added the sad backstory with him being a Holocaust victim retroactively. And I feel like you can't have him have both of those ideals at the same time. I feel like you can't, because like it brings a really messed up question. Like when you have both at the same time, it makes him less sympathetic to me, because like you were tortured alongside humans
Yeah.
who went through those things. You being a mutant does not erase the humans who went through the same thing. And yet you're trying to put yourself above humans, even though you have these shared struggles.
I
Especially,
will say, given current situations, uh, it's even more dicey.
yeah, it's even more dicey, because like this idea that somebody who has went through that specific experience would be for that, when with what's been going on overseas and stuff, most Holocaust victims are actually against that,
Right.
because
Right.
like they've seen the patterns, they've been through it, so why would they be for that happening again? On top of the fact that they're not taken care of over there. They're not. Like they're pretty much seen as like the shame and stuff, because it represents a time of like weakness and victimhood and stuff, and people, instead of like coping with the fact that it happened and like trying to focus on not having it happen again, it's like, oh, we have shame, so we're gonna just compensate by trying to put ourselves above others. So like it's another egregious thing. Now it's one thing if Magneto was used as like a commentary on that, but I don't think that Marvel is brave enough to do that.
No, no, no. They're not.
They're
Though
not.
supposedly, now I haven't seen it. Supposedly, though, the new like the redo on the X Men cartoon was supposed to be really good with that. I don't know. I haven't
Um,
seen it.
Pretty
I've
much
heard good
Magneto.
things.
How do I describe Magneto? In most depictions, he's like a catharsis character, where he gets to act out the violence, that he's the retributive violence and stuff, and he's still
Hmm.
very much that and that. It's just that I still don't like him, because he still sort of has those superiority things. Okay, so we get on the gnome in order to wash the thing, because I'm like, how the fuck are we gonna wash this thing, since I can't even bring the
The ladder up.
I can't even bring the ladder up. I
No,
cry.
no, no.
So if we just jump on the gnomes, then we can achieve greatness. Cause like, okay, I hold Magneto in a similar regard to Killmonger because I'm a Killmonger hater. Like, I hate that folks are like, oh, Killmonger is evil because Marvel are the feds. And I'm like, Marvel is the feds, but not because of what happened with Killmonger. They're the feds because they let a CIA be a good guy in Black Panther. That's the problem. Like, Ross existing as a CIA agent, if he was S.H.I.E.L.D., I wouldn't mind him. Even though I do kind of mind him because it's been confirmed that he was literally created in order to give white audiences somebody to relate to because they couldn't be too black with this film. But
I, I will say this. I feel bad for
I'm gonna
that actor
fudge.
because he has such a tendency to stumble into things
Oh
when he's
damn.
just trying to do his best.
Damn.
Like
Oh, so just like Ross.
everything,
So just like Ross.
everything. Just
He was typecast.
like I want to be an actor. I want to get my paycheck, and it's like, oh, so where Sherlock Holmes is has a problem. Okay, all right. Well, I'm in the Hobbit. Oh, the Hobbit. Yeah. Oh, poor guy. Poor
Rest in
guy.
peace.
Okay, go ahead.
But it's just like making a CIA agent somebody who was willing to help a foreign country maintain its sovereignty. That's a
Yeah.
goddamn lie. But like Killmonger being a bad guy, that's not bad. That's not bad. Because people are like, well, they had to make him be mean to women in order to show how bad he was. And you're just like, no, he's been mean to women throughout the whole thing. And the only reason why y'all are hyping this dude up is because he's a catharsis fantasy, right? He's doing the retributive violence, but people forget this dude was a Navy SEAL. He was always a Fed. And like I feel like to me Black Panther isn't about like what we should do in response to colonization. I think it's very much a story about like diaspora wars. Like pretty much how Africans and diaspora should treat each other in response to these things because like Killmonger, he is diaspora because his mom is African American, and I feel like a lot of his anger stems from the fact that despite having ties to Wakanda, he has been robbed of that non-colonial experience due to his mom being African American and his dad being a traitor. So like him lashing out isn't him necessarily lashing out at oppressors because he was trying to destroy the legacy of Wakanda by like getting wanting to be the only one to be the last Black Panther and whatnot. It's that one proverb when a child isn't embraced by his village, he'll burn it down to feel its warmth.
Mm.
And like the way that T'Challa was talking about him at first, how it was just like we are not going to like team up with these outsiders. That literally sounds like a Nigerian man saying I do not associate myself with these niggas because I know I got Nigerian cousins and they be like that sometimes, and then I have to humble them because like the diaspora wars, it gets crazy. It gets so crazy. It's not funny, but it's funny in retrospect. It's only funny in retrospect. In the moment, it's annoying as hell. But holy shit, I'm just like, yeah, nah. Eric hit T'Challa a couple of times. He still got to win, but he needs to get punched. Just hit him with this train for a moment, please.
I
Because
will also I will also say that it is important to note that just because you have been, oppressed and so on, that
mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that you can't be a misogynist and you can't, have your own things.
Yeah, especially
There are
when
all
looking at
kinds
the
of.
sorry,
Go ahead.
especially when looking at the behind the scenes. Eric was literally inspired by. It was like after the civil rights movement, there were subsequent civil rights movements with that because like every movement is usually a response to another movement. We had the American Revolution because of the Haitians, with inspiration from the Haitians, because I think it was Thomas Jefferson who actually cited the Haitian Revolution as like inspiration with some things, which is funny because he was a Francophile and he was also a bastard. But there you go. But how there were some warlords who were like who would take from civil rights rhetoric and use that in order to get into a position of power only to take advantage of that ensuing chaos and then mistreat the people after. That's Killmonger textbook, especially when you look at characters like Nakia was saying the exact same things as him, but wanting to use Wakandan resources as a force of liberation. And the difference between her and Killmonger was that she was actually walking the walk because like her first scene is literally her smuggling women and children out of trafficking and stuff. and yet everybody and their mom jock rides Killmonger because Michael B. Jordan is fine, and because he's Black American, he relates more so directly to our experiences. And I also think it's because he's a man. It's like, let's talk about the civil rights movement and how it's mainly men who are the face of these
Yeah.
movements, even though when it comes to both the civil rights movement and just the black church in general, women are usually the backbone and the community facilitators due to being homemakers and stuff. They're the ones making these connections.
I will say we are coming into
Oh, I think we
uh
passed. Did we
yeah,
pass?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
been
We're at
3 hours.
3 hours now.
Yeah, you need to get your rest. I'm sorry.
I need to get. It's okay. It's okay. Got into a nice, interesting conversation.
Hmm.
Um, and it's definitely the sort of conversation I usually don't have. Um,
Yeah, this is the media analysistism kicking in.
yeah, yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Hmm.
Um, but
It's
yeah,
also
this was a lot of
partially,
fun.
this is like me
Go ahead.
turning on my museum hat and stuff because sometimes we talk about we actually have a section in one of the exhibits about like community action and how that like manifested in different settings. That's interesting. But thanks for thanks for doing this. It's a shame that we couldn't get the fountain done in time, even with the extended. Especially since I just found out how to get to the top.
We got close. We got. I mean, we're at 97%. That's not bad.
Is this OSHA compliant?
No, nothing about the things that we have in our hands are not OSHA compliant because if they can strip off the rust as they can, this would be the most dangerous. Like this thing in my hand, if I just like jokingly squirted you with it, would kill you. So no, I don't think this is OSHA compliant at all. Uh, um, this this reminds me just on a geek note.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you ever played Rifts, the TTRPG, but they had a vampire expansion,
Oh.
and one of the things that would kill vampires is running water. And
Oh
in
yeah.
that world, running water included water from super soakers.
That's so cool
So
though.
so people would walk around with like full on water guns to protect themselves from these vampires.
That kind of reminds me of so when we talked about world building earlier, there's
Hmm.
actually just one bit in my world where like you know how a lot of things that deters demons and vampires and stuff, it's actually tied to like some sort of like it ties to cleaning in some way
Yeah.
or form because like the running water, you know, standing water that brings a lot of diseases and stuff like mosquitoes and the bacteria and whatnot. And then you have burning sage to keep demons away, and sage it actually keeps away bugs. And then silver is a holy metal, but it's also known for its antimicrobial properties and stuff. And
Hmm.
there's literal scripture where it's just like if you get rid of a demon and then it comes back and sees that the house is unclean, it's gonna bring even more with it and stuff. So like pretty much I have it where areas that have historically had issues with demons being a problem, they've invested in public infrastructure for like sanitation and stuff. Those tend to be the
Hmm.
cleanest cities in order to keep it from happening again.
And it's not hard to see the link there because if the place is not clean, people are, especially early on, people are dying for mysterious reasons.
Mhm.
And that sounds like a demon to me.
Yeah.
You can absolutely see how that would come about. All right, but like I said, it
Yeah, we
is
need
it
to
is
go.
time. Yes, I need some
Parting
I
from
need
you
some
is
really
such sweet
crappy.
sorrow.
Yes, we had a lot of fun, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for playing.
It
We
would
will
be nice to
definitely
do it
have to
again.
do this again.
How
Yes,
about when
absolutely.
the Shrek map comes out?
It will depend on the timing as always because I do have like that RPG schedule.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, so when that comes out, we will pitch and we will plan. Uh,
Awesome.
Thank you all so much for hanging out with me and for hanging out with our lovely guest as we washed some gnomes, dirty, dirty gnomes.
Dirty
Um,
gnomes.
one second.
I'm back on the
There's no place like no.
There's no place
We
like
are
no.
going to we are going to raid out to Goth Gamer Goblin, who is a member of our breakfast crew, though she will not be there this Sunday.
Oh, cool.
Um, yeah. And then tomorrow,
Actually,
if
could you send me
you,
the app so we could both rate? I don't
oh
mind.
yeah, I can send you her name. Yeah, absolutely.
Yay!
Yeah,
I want to be
yeah,
helpful. Plus, I
absolutely.
need to get into a habit of that because it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Tomorrow, it will not be on my stream. It will be on Athena Atlas's stream. I am going to be playing. Speaking of Star Wars fans, at 2 p.m. I'm going to be playing Shiva Towers, a 9 foot tall, 3 inch pit fighter. As we play the Scum and Villainy game. You're not going to see any Jedi. It's not going to be about the rebellion. It's going to be about the underside. It's going to be about heists. It's going to be about huts. It's going to be about Nar Shaddaa, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, did you hear about the news with the last game, the last one with
Outlaw.
Cal Kestis? It's gonna
Oh,
the next one is gonna be the last one.
hmm, hmm.
That's all I
Very
had to
interesting.
say.
Okay, no, very interesting. But yeah, like I said, I will be there. I will be playing that character. I will be playing that character to the hilt. I'm very excited. She's big, she's bad, she's beautiful. Um, and yeah, and she's literally the size of it. Like she rates as the size of a vehicle, and I
Oh,
love that. I love that for her. Okay. And beyond that, oh, do you have anything you want to share real quick before
I
we
just
go?
wanted to say thank you so much for having me, and I hope that everybody has a good night. Stay above the water. We're gonna go
There you go.
raid, so stay in the chat.
Do this. And as always, from a bun.